didn't come out yet?
I can get it.
You want to go ahead and walk down? Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well after the July the 4th weekend. At this time, Jerry Langley is going to give our invocation. You can remain seated.
I was waiting to see if he was going to open that door. Let us.
Here he comes. Sorry.
It was a power nap, right?
Well, one story works as well as another.
Let us pray. Dear Lord our God, we are grateful and thankful for this very moment in time. We thank you for your goodness and your mercy. We thank you for the opportunity to assemble together one more time to do the business of your county. Father, we just ask for your guidance and all our decision makers, making that our decisions will make sense and will be wise and prudent for your people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. At this time, I'll ask that you stand, and Commissioner Walker is going to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask at this time, if you will, make sure that your phone is either turned off or in the vibrate mode. We're down to the conflict of interest disclosure. Is there any commissioner that has a conflict with any of the items on our agenda for tonight? Okay, hearing none. We'll move to approve the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to do that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
I need to change one thing on the agenda. I think it's Doge in Beaufort County should be Doge for Beaufort County. So I want to make sure we have it
Okay.
right ahead of time. The Doge for Beaufort County. All right.
All right. So we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda, raise your right hand. Thank you. We're down now for items for presentation, and the first one tonight is the Governor's Volunteer Service Awards, and that'll be completed by Chris Bowen with the Partnership for Children. Welcome, Chris.
So I'm delighted to be back here again. The partnership comes once a year and visits with you all, and we're always pleased to share with you another outstanding volunteer. Tonight we're going to be recognizing one volunteer in Beaufort County, and we're delighted to shine that spotlight and recognize her for the 2025 Governor's Volunteer Service Award. Our local heroes often go unnoticed as they quietly serve, and we are blessed to have a community full of volunteers who constantly give of their gifts of time and support over and over again. Today, we are honored to recognize one of Beaufort County's amazing volunteers and to thank her for all she has tirelessly given, and we're incredibly proud to honor this volunteer today and highlight her extensive work. Before I make the presentation, let me share a little bit about the Governor's Volunteer Service Award. It honors the true spirit of volunteerism by recognizing individuals and groups that make a significant contribution to their community through volunteer service. Each year, nominations are sought for outstanding volunteers in every county of North Carolina, and nominations are made, then reviewed at a local level, and then sent to the state level where the awards are determined. But enough about that. Let's get to the fun part of recognizing our volunteer. So I'm going to ask Ms. Sheila P. Caraway to come join me, along with Ms. Shantae Mason, who nominated Ms. Sheila P. Caraway. And I'm going to share some of the remarks that Ms. Shante made about Ms. Sheila when she submitted the nomination. So Ms. Sheila P. Caraway exemplifies outstanding commitment to volunteerism through her tireless efforts to uplift her community and support individuals on their path to self-sufficiency. Her dedication shines through her work with the Washington Housing Authority, where she actively assists participants in the self-sufficiency program, empowering them to achieve independence and stability. Her volunteerism extends to Metropolitan Community Service, further showcasing her dedication to serve those in need. One of Sheila's most impactful accomplishments was the creation and leadership of the Mother Love Program. This initiative provided crucial support to young mothers, equipping them with resources, guidance, and skills to navigate parenthood and build better futures for themselves and their children. Sheila's remarkable leadership, empathy, and drive have met critical community needs, addressing poverty, education, and family support. Her efforts continue to inspire others and demonstrate the transformative power of selfless service. Sheila's unique ability to connect with people and create meaningful change is a testament to her extraordinary character and enduring impact. Thank you, Ms. Sheila, for truly making a difference, and it is my pleasure to recognize you as the recipient for the 2025 Governor's Volunteer Service Award. And Ms. Shante will place the pin on your lapel to show that you're receiving the award. Present you with this certificate. And even though we just clapped for Ms. Sheila, I think she deserves another round of applause for this outstanding recognition. Can I get a quick photo? Can I get a quick photo?
Yes.
Yeah, you can stand right there.
That's my classmate.
She looks younger.
Okay, did you want to start? Okay, no, it's, thank you. So that
Congratulations, Ms. Sheila.
and we look forward to coming in next year and recognizing more volunteers.
Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, we're down to the service award presentation, and Katie, you're going to do that?
We have 3 for this month. The first person is for 5 years, Danielle Elizabeth Buck from Communications.
Sheriff, y'all ain't taking a picture of her?
You certainly will. You the head is with
Our second person is Brian Alligood, our county manager with 10 years.
Who are you?
Vase. And finally, we have Janice Williams from the Health Department with 10 years.
You got it, Janelle? I got it. Brian, we're gonna ask you to come back so your wife can take a picture of you.
April, do you want to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Who's gonna take it if I'm in this?
Oh, everybody got a camera.
That's right, it wasn't her. I don't know what you-
1, 2, 3. We got it.
So congratulations for Our next item for presentation is the Beaufort County Community Health Needs Assessment. Janelle?
Good evening. So this is something that we do annually. We tried to present a very compact assessment that is available online, and I'll have a slide on the end, but I did want to kind of review some of the big takeaway points that we had this year. So Beaufort County's population is 43,912. This is an average decrease of about 0.6% per year since 2010. There is good news, though, that the population estimate, we don't quite know, hopefully next year will come out to 44,576. So hopefully we see, there's anticipated an increase, which is always a good thing. Below that, you'll see the leading causes of death. Now, keep in mind those years are 2019 to 2023. The top 4 leading causes of death, heart disease, followed by cancer, COVID-19, and then cerebrovascular disease. So those are the top 4. However, as you can see on that top 10 list as well, Alzheimer's, chronic lower respiratory disease, unintentional injuries, diabetes, followed by nephritis, as well as liver disease. So focusing back on population, I'm sorry I did miss a piece of that, but we have approximately 66% of our population identifying as white or Caucasian, 23% African American or Black, 8.2% Hispanic, and 1% other, and that's just represented in that pie chart. So poverty is a big thing that did stick out in this assessment. We have a median household income for Beaufort County that's $53,044, which is lower than the North Carolina household income of $64,316. So 16.4% of Beaufort County households live below the poverty level, which again is higher than the North Carolina percentage of 10.1 as well as the United States percentage of 9.5. There's another resource that we utilize on your sheet as well from ALICE. It's called Assess Limited Income Constrained Employed, and that identified 28% of Beaufort County households cannot afford basic essentials compared to 29% for North Carolina. And really why, and I put a poverty cycle as what you see up there, is poverty and affordability go hand in hand with health and the services that we provide, as well as our county's health. If in that cycle, you'll see that if they start out in poverty, it's harder to get out of that cycle, but then you lead to lack of education and then therefore the job, lower paying jobs, and then a lot of pushback in the sense of when they're not feeling well, they're going to wait till the very last minute because they don't have the money to go to an appointment, and therefore that's usually when they come, and it's a little harder to treat, a little harder to manage at that point. So next slide, Brandon, thank you. So the top 4 focus areas, and this is really the big pushing point for us and something that this is like our Bible. So we went to you guys as well as the community through the assessment, as well as where we pull partners together to say, hey, you've got all this data, like 100 pages of data, what are the big things we need to focus on? Because we want to narrow those ways. And these 4 areas were identified: access to health care, behavioral health, which includes mental health and substance misuse, chronic health conditions, followed by family, community, and social support. Why these are so important is the health department, as well as partnership with the hospital and other local partnerships, this helps guide our efforts in the next coming years. If family and community and social support is identified, working with partners to invest in that area to make improvements. Same thing with access to care. Health department in particular, I can speak on that behalf, is we want to assure that the things that we're doing aren't just to do things, aren't just because grants are available for it. We want to make sure it's matching up to the needs of the community. So the first focus area is access to health care. And one big rate that is always an identifier of where we kind of stand is our primary care provider rate, 69.4, compared to 101.1 in North Carolina and 112.4 in the U.S. What that means is there's just not as many providers available here based on our county ratio. So if there's lack of providers, it's harder to get in to see a provider. Same thing with specialists, things of that nature. You might have to travel longer distances. And something else identified is transportation barrier. So if not only we don't have it here, but you have to transfer out of the county, that's another transportation barrier, let alone just within your own county. So 5.8% households have no motor vehicle. So they rely on transportation, and Beaufort County doesn't have any public transportation, so that it's really difficult. A lot of people refer on friends or families. BATS is a resource, but there's some limitations there as well. And then the top 3 barriers to receiving health care were identified as cost, no insurance, and then lack of transportation. So all 3 of those play a huge role that we see daily, but also was in the community health assessment as what inhibits people from getting care. So the next focus area is behavioral health. 3 kind of big takeaways from that data point is our opioid overdose death rate, which is 33.2 compared to 25.1 of North Carolina. Now, this rate is improving, but when this data was collected and where it's pulled from, this is the most up-to-date at that time, but continues in the right trend. And you all are very up-to-date on a lot of the efforts and issues that are going on pertaining to opioid overdose, substance misuse, to try to move that needle, which is great. Identified by county citizens, the top 3 most important health problems were alcohol, drug addiction, diabetes, and then mental health and depression, anxiety. So one point I want to make about those 3 is in that survey, it wasn't just pick your top 3 behavioral health issues. It was top 3 health most important problems. And these were the 3 that came back. And you can see 2 out of the top 3 were related to substances and mental health. Our mental health providers rate is also below where North Carolina and the U.S. is as well. So again, for mental health providers, if there's a lack of providers, then it's a little bit harder to get in access to. So chronic health conditions is our 3rd focus area. 6 out of 10 are living with at least one chronic disease, and then 8 out of 10 deaths in North Carolina are related to a chronic health condition. So a lot of what the health department and hospital and a lot of other community partners want to do is get on the forefront of these chronic diseases before they're at a place that gets hard to treat or it's too late. We want to prevent, we want to delay, we want to live longer, healthier lives. And the last support or focus area is the family, community, and social support. So this is actually a new focus area. The top 3 that I've already mentioned have been identified in the last 3 community health assessments, which is about 12 years. These issues have been on the table. They continue to be at the forefront. But the family and community and social support is a new one. But I'm actually really excited that that was identified as a new area this year. Focus group participants discussed the cost of living and the lack of well-paying jobs as an issue. And a lot of the way that this discussion took place in focus groups, where they rely on families, they rely on programs and community to support them, whether that's through the churches and food distributions, whether that's friends taking them to doctor's appointments. They also discussed that existing community partnerships being a strength in Beaufort County. And that is something I can say in my 13 years here, Beaufort County, we work really well together. A lot of partnerships, a lot of community, whether they're community members that have an organization or if it's just community members in general. They and we do a really good job of finding what the needs are and doing the best we can with what we got. And I'm glad that was identified there as well. The last data point I have for you is just that the most important social and environmental problems that affected our community, identified by your residents, were availability and access to doctor's office, housing and homelessness, and then lack of job opportunities. So again, a lot of it goes hand in hand, but those 3 were identified as your top 3, And last but not least, so the full report, like I said, this is just a glimpse. There is a full-fledged report. It's a doozy, but it's 150 pages, but it's got a lot of good data, a lot of good information. If you would like a full report, you're welcome to download it off of the website as well as this infographic, or if you'd like us to print it for you, you're welcome to request that from us as well. Are there any questions?
I've got one.
Yes, sir.
I love how you do this. It's easy read. You can get right to the point. Do you have the previous years easily? It's on the website?
Yeah, so the website has them listed, I think the past 5 is what we have.
Oh, good.
As well as,
I think it would be good to just see some sort of, trend.
yeah, you'll see some in there, and I actually looked up, especially with the population, because for me, it's really easy to forget sometimes where we were the last time and that kind of stuff. But as well as the SOCH that we have to do annually, the community health assessment are done every 3 to 4 years. So the SOCHs are in between as well and have that data recap as well.
Good. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And while one might be concerned that the assumption is the population is decreasing in Beaufort County, I think a lot of people just didn't fill out the census.
Gotcha.
34,900 people voted in the last election. That was about 78% of those registered. If you do the math, it makes it almost an impossibility that Beaufort County is any smaller than at least 50 to 55,000 people. If you look at the traffic, there's a lot of traffic in Beaufort County. They can't all be illegals. Although there's a fairly large illegal population, you may even know closely to what that is here in Beaufort County.
Well, I will say that that number might not be completely accurate. It's the data that we're pulling from and what other states are going by as well. But I will say the trend that I hear, as well as I think we've heard it from the schools and the decrease in students and things of that nature and people moving, I do think that's been seen some. And one place I go back to is that access to care, jobs. You all know this. If they have jobs, they want to build here, that kind of thing. But we have people traveling into the county because the doctor's offices and medical stuff are in Greenville or other locations. And so that does invest in the community to build up that population, that healthcare piece.
Yeah, I was just looking at it from a mathematical standpoint.
Gotcha.
And what I'd like to say to the public is that please fill out your census report next time. We get representation in Washington, D.C. by the amount of people we show in the census, not how many people Stan hypothetically says we have here in Beaufort County, and I'm probably closer to the truth than the census, a whole lot closer. But really, 34,900 people at about 78% voting voted in the last election. If you look at the math, that means there's almost no children or people unregistered here in Beaufort County, and
Gotcha.
we know that's not true.
Well, and I do know we have, as you all know as well, an aging population. So we do have more older adults and a lot of people moving down from retirement. And since that, so if they're not having kids here, the kids aren't raising them here. You know, there's a lot of things that go into that. But I agree. I would love everyone to fill out their census.
Yeah.
The more data, the merrier.
I figure 80% of the people did and 20% of the people didn't. This is my estimation.
Gotcha. Any other questions?
When your comment on transportation, that the county did not have any transportation,
Public modes of transportation. Did I miss one?
I mean,
Oh, okay, sorry. So, sorry, BATS is a public transportation. However, there are certain limitations with BATS as well.
Okay.
So as far as like a bus system, things of that nature, even Uber's very difficult
I got
around
you,
here.
I got
So
you.
that's where I was going with that, yes, sir.
any other comment? Thank you very much,
You're
Janelle.
welcome. I think I'm up again, though.
Oh, that's right, you are. You want to lead in on the opioid settlement funding and initiative?
So I, as requested last meeting, am here to present just kind of a roundabout well of where we are, opioid settlement, where we've been, where we're going, and would love your feedback as well if there are any questions left unhinged. So the first slide you'll see is really just an outline of time frame. 2022 is when we sought community input and the strategic plan kind of initiated. A big thing revolving around opioid settlement dollars is that the community and partnerships have a voice in it, and that all started back June 2022. So the resolution that you all approved for spending plan was September of 2022. Then we moved and received our first deposit of opioid settlement funding January 2023. We hired an opioid health educator, which was one of the approved options by you guys. And then we also did 2 community pilot projects that were each funded at $5,000 each. September 2023, you all know that we inhibited some barriers when it came to peer supports and hiring and that kind of stuff, but we did begin that peer support specialist program in 2023. And a lot of that, I know y'all know Tiffany Moore, but kudos to her, just shout out in the sense of the training that she was able to bring here to be able to get peer supports trained in order to ever even have a population to be able to select from was just great. So, April 2024, we held community forums, again, to seek feedback. This whole process is continual feedback, continual partnership. It's not a one-way road for anybody. And then the goal is of August 2024 for last year, August 2024, 4 community pilot projects were funded each $5,000, and Tiffany Moore presented on that last meeting. Now, the county and your partners selected option B, and I'm going to get into that a little bit, but you can see up there that the 5 pathways or the efforts that we're working on are opioid health educator, your peer support specialist, the opioid coordinator, and then community pilots, as well as operational training supplies, and I've broken that down budget-wise. Now, fun fact that I do want you to know is the health department has been using KBR funding to supplement so that we weren't touching opioid funds yet for the opioid educator, which is great because we've been able to save that money, which is fantastic. And thankfully, the opioid coordinator that we hired was already a part of our team in 2021, so that was a very nice transition as well. Next slide, Brandon. So up here, what you'll see is the original funding amount. We have not asked for more money. This is still all going from the same spending plan. Even the authorization that y'all approved last month was really just extending out till September. It was not adding any more additional funds. So the breakdown from the $622,577 that was passed in 2023 is, as you see on the screen, $147,000 approximately for the peer support specialist, $85,000 approximately for the opioid health educator, the opioid coordinator, $109,000, and the opioid project support community pilots, $20,000, and the opioid operational support, $3,307. So the opioid coordinator, that money that we haven't been pulling yet, thanks to other dollars, we will start pulling this month. So we will pull from that this. And this funding breakdown, like I said, it does not require any additional funds for anything that we've listed so far or that we've done or look forward to. And Hood, I know last meeting, the request of the 20,000, so I'm going to get into that too of kind of how we see that going, okay? Next slide, please, Brandon. So option A, option B, I probably failed last time I was up here to explain it, so I tried to put it in a graph best I could because it gets a little complicated. But option A is very limited. There are only 12 strategies that counties can choose from. They're still reporting, and it doesn't require community strategic planning. So your Behavioral Health Task Force, which is a community representation from Sheriff's Department, schools, Health Department, hospital, a lot of your local mental health and substance misuse facilities, they all work very extremely hard together to make sure that efforts going forth are what the community needs and not just one organization, which is why I think that task force is so vital. But what they decided and then was approved by the commissioners was option B because it's a more extensive list. So the option B, though it has a little bit more stringent or extensive reporting, does allow for the community to basically come forth with bigger ideas, different strategies that might not be listed in A. So we currently both are in B. We can change, but with the new upcoming assessments and strategic plan, that could be an option pending which way we go. But we did not want to handcuff ourselves to A in case community identified areas that needed to fall under option B. Does that make sense so far? Am I doing okay with that? Okay. All right, so hopefully y'all were a part. If not, but the community strategic planning continues to be a piece. We just had one recently, and that community feedback is huge in regards to, again, driving what the county and the citizens want in partnerships versus just the health department taking control or one individual taking control. So with that being said, Brandon, if you could do the next slide. Hood, this is where I'm kind of bringing in that 20,000 of where we're at. So we just released the RFA. You guys approved the spending resolution until September 2026. June 2025, we just released the RFAs for those community pilots to apply. July, Behavioral Health Task Force, with all those partnerships, will vote on regards of that funding. The community engagement forums will be held in the fall, and then we'll present the findings again to the commissioners in spring 2026. So Hood, the 20,000 or the drug court that you had mentioned, it was drug court, not family court, right? Drug court. Their best option, and Tiffany has been in communication with them, is to apply for this RFA. And then that RFA goes, just like every other process and every community pilot has gone, to the task force for decision. Now, here's where it'll get tricky.
There's a misunderstanding.
Oh, okay.
The commissioners approved the use of that money.
Yes.
We don't need anybody else to approve it.
Okay.
That's money that's held by Beaufort County.
Yes.
Under the control of this board, and this board voted for the use of that money, so it's not a matter of somebody else approving it. The check should be written.
Well, my thoughts on it, and you could disagree, is if you have one community partner shouting, I need 20,000, and you give it, then all these other partners who had to apply a certain way for their efforts that are still impacting, they're going to start shouting. They're
But you
going to want
see,
the money.
you live in an egalitarian world
Okay,
in which all these social programs have equal footing.
okay.
I live in a political world. This elected board voted to award $20,000 to that group of people. We didn't ask your permission to do that.
No, I don't think y'all voted for that, sir.
Yes, we did. What did we vote for?
You vote for her to come back and talk about it.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't my motion.
We'll go back and look at it. Absolutely, we'll be glad to look at that. But what you have to do is you have to take input from the community on how this is done, and then it comes back to the board for approval. So there's got to be public input on this, which is what they're doing right now.
Well, we're into a serious political debate here as to who's in charge. Is this board in charge, or is some unnamed, unknown group of people out here in charge?
Listen to what I'm saying to you.
No,
It comes
that
back
is
to the board.
insubordinate,
It
and you
comes
need to listen to
back
what I'm
to
saying to
the
you.
board.
My motion was for this board
comes
to award
back to
$20,000 to
the
that
board.
court. We did not ask your permission, her permission, or anybody else's permission.
Commissioner Richards, I'm glad to go back and look at that, but the funding that was put in place goes through the end of this project. And then there's the public input where then the board, she's going to bring that back to the board on what's proposed. The board can then vote on that, on how they want to use those funds.
That was not my motion, that was not my understanding, and that was not explained to this board at that time. Now, the question is, the money, who writes the check? Who signs this check when it's written?
I think the finance officer and the chairman write the check.
Absolutely, and that's why this board made that decision, and that's why that award stands.
So again, I'm happy to go back and look at it, Commissioner Richardson, but you also have to understand that that it has to have public input. There has to be public input. There was a plan that was put in place that public input was decided about this. That plan was brought to the board. It was approved by the board. They are spending those funds as they were directed by the board, approved. According to this and what she talked about last time, we will do the public input again. We'll get all that information. It will then come back to the board again for the findings in '26.
Now, let's see if I understand this correctly. As a board of elected county commissioners, we have no authority to obligate funds. This is money that was awarded to Beaufort County. Now, if you guys went and set up some phantom organization out here that's going to run things, you need to be telling us about it, because the commissioners have this money. It was not awarded to some phantom organization out here somewhere. It was awarded to the Beaufort County Board of County Commissioners. And I made the motion that we use $20,000 of that money to help the drug court. And now you're back in here telling me that these guys up here are not in charge, that some phantom group out here meeting somewhere in some secret location without notice to the public is actually in charge? Is that what I'm being told?
No, sir, not going to continue to argue with you about it either.
I don't think you should, because you lost.
Now, I think I'm pretty right on this one, Commissioner Richardson. The board set a spending plan, and that's what this organization, that's what this group has done. That's what the county has done on that program. That's what we're required to do under the opioid settlement. So we've done that. There is a new process by which, when we re-up this, that Janelle was trying to explain to the board, you take community input, which I'm sure you want community input on this, because you don't want individuals or secret people making decisions, or one person making a decision about where the money goes. So that comes back, you get public input, then a proposal comes back to the board for that new spending proposal. That's how it works.
I don't have a problem if you want to do the bureaucracy that way, but this board trumps all of those organizations.
Well, you're going to have the opportunity to vote it up or down, how the money's going to be used to.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with how you guys vote, so I have very little assurity that this thing's going to pass if it comes back. This is a ploy to defeat my motion, and that's all that it is.
Anyone else have a question?
So I was just going to make another statement, sorry. But I would love for them to be funded. let me put that on the record. I think it's a great effort, and I think it joins in efforts that we are doing. I think pending the RFA, what they bring to the table, and again, the coordinator bringing it back to you guys for approval, if we have 5 groups of people that all apply for $20,000, including the drug court, when we come back up here, it's not impossible as long as it aligns with those 5 original things that we've mentioned, and that's column B, which is why we kept B. But we would have to ask for more funding if one got $20,000, because that's all that's left in that line.
I'm sorry, but my motion was to chop off $20,000 a month ago, and that it would go to the drug court.
Well, I apologize, I misunderstood your
It wasn't all of
thing.
this bureaucracy and this phantom use of money that's out there somewhere in a truly socialist world.
I don't
That's not
understand
what
how it
this
can
is
be
about. This is
phantom
why
when
we
it's
have
in
an
front of you.
elected body sitting up here.
Yeah,
We control the money.
yes, you do, which is why we come to you for approval.
So I don't care if
And
somebody
direction.
votes it down. If we've got 4 votes up here that say they get the $20,000, and it's going to go to the drug court.
100%.
So why are we having this discussion?
I'm confused as you are.
I'm definitely confused because I thought I was elected to vote on a budget and to decide how the county spent money.
I took your motion last meeting to come to you because you wanted to just whip it right then. And I said, I need to check on regards of A and B, and if we follow a line with how the opioid settlement has to be handled. Now, what I'm telling you is from your motion last month is that it does fall in line with option B of where we fall. But it's going to cost more money that the board, if the task force brings it forth, maybe they don't even apply, I don't know. But if they bring it to you and you say, yes, love it, okay, we will march out your orders.
Well, all I'm saying is there's a big game going on here that the commissioners, we thought we were in charge, and now we find out that we are not in charge. So when you come back, you bring a list of all of these people who are making this decision for us and how they voted, if you were going to play the game that way.
It's listed on our website under behavioral
No,
health.
I'm sorry,
task force.
you are employed by Beaufort County.
I am.
I demand to know who voted and how they voted, and I'm not going to look it up on a website.
voted.
You're going to provide it to this board
So you want the members or how they voted?
and how they voted.
So you want the community members, you want the
Yeah,
focus group?
I
you
want to know who the
insight?
secret society is out here that's making these decisions for us and how they voted.
I don't understand how it's secret when WITN did a whole segment on everything that's going on.
Not everybody in Beaufort County does that, and I'm getting the impression that a commissioner is something lower than whale crap, is what I'm getting.
I disagree. I think you're high, but I want to understand where you're coming from because I don't know how to relay the information. If I'm putting it in press releases, if I'm working with the news, if I'm talking with community partners, if I'm presenting to the commissioners, I don't know what else to relay that information to.
Well, you have a job in management, and I would suggest you sit down and figure out how to make this work because this is not going away.
I hope it doesn't. We need this money.
Janelle,
Yes, sir.
just continue to do your job. 7, not 1.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're good?
Yes, I will keep you all in the loop, and I'll,
All right.
Probably shouldn't ask it right now. How many peer support people you have now?
3.
The program that you had on the board was, how many were you supposed to have?
The program, 3. So we're actually looking at pulling in, increasing the hours, because it was 3 people.
I thought it
2
was 4.
I thought it was
You may
3,
be correct.
3,
but you-
and then 1 was full-time, 2 were part-time. We're trying to increase the other one
But
to
you do have
full-time.
your support, your peer people in place?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Any other questions?
We're good. Yes. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is the Beaufort County Community College request for land purchase and funding. Brian and Dr. Loop,
Yes, sir, Dr. Loop's going to handle this one.
okay,
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
fine. How are you doing, Dr.
I'm
Loop?
glad to be here to be able to give you an opportunity to obligate additional money for use by the college and to benefit the citizens of Beaufort County. What we have is a parcel of property that is adjacent to our truck driving staging area, our fire towers, and fire science area, and part of the driving pad. It is 3 acres and a house. The address is 5319 US Highway 264 East. It is absolutely contiguous with the college and extending back through those 3 areas that I mentioned. We were approached by the owner of the house, Mrs. Parrott. The house was, in most recent county valuation, was $150,000. She's asking $160,000 for it. We could, quite frankly, it's a good idea for us from a strategic capital plan standpoint to purchase the property because it can give us room to grow, and we're running out of room to grow. I think there may be a somewhat difficult to see map that's on the screen before you that shows the campus and across the street. On the far right, you'll see proposed lot for acquisition, which runs perpendicular, or whatever the opposite of that is, parallel to the areas that I mentioned: fire science, truck driving, and part of the edge of the driving pad. We would like to use this area to place the skilled trades building on, for which this body was wise enough to give us some funding. It will make it much more easy for us to find parking to go along with that skilled trades building. Also, we think that we're afraid at some point that somebody will buy that property and make it into something that's less than desirable, perhaps. Right now, it's just farmland. There's a field behind the house. The house is under tenancy right now. There's a tenant in it who of course, could stay until the end of the lease. And we think we may be able to use it for office space in terms of the house. The price is good in terms of the ability to purchase some additional property that will give us an opportunity to grow as the college grows. Just as an aside, our continuing education short-term workforce training programs have grown by 80% over the last 10 years. That's the second most of any college in the community college system. And this skilled trades center will be another big part of that. And so we feel like we need to have the space to build it, have the parking, but also have the space to potentially enlarge it at some point. The only places we can build right now, there's really only one place, and that would be behind Building 8, the continuing education building. But that's currently used by physical education. Everywhere else on the property is either a wetland, close to a wetland, or in some pretty wooded properties that have a number of ravines and so forth that would make it very difficult to actually build on. So I'm trying to set the stage for what the college needs in the future by doing this, as our enrollment has increased significantly over the last 8 years. So that's our proposal. Mrs. Parrott is from Morehead City. She's the owner of the property currently, and we have a contingency contract with her pending, of course, the decision of the Board of Commissioners. Glad to answer any questions.
Anyone have questions of Dr. Luke? Yes.
Dr. Luby, how much money did we give you for that project?
$500,000.
Can you use that money?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes. Not for the property. The
You can't use it for the property?
No, the property was, we were going to place it in a location which is not ideal. And as a result, because it would be between the nursing building and the EMS building on that side of campus, which is wet most of the time to begin with, and we're going to have to build it up. And there's not a great deal, and there's a ditch that runs through the middle of it. This gives us an opportunity to not have to worry about that as we prepare the ground for building the location, the facility.
How much was it going to cost to build up the ground and get it prepared so that you could actually use it?
I'm not sure. I don't know if, Mark, if we had any discussion with the architect. The plans right now for that building are with State Construction, with the architect, or, yeah, the architect's plans are with State Construction. So this enables us to have much more appropriate space.
What I'm driving at, if it was going to cost more money to use the other piece of property that you had designated when we gave you the money, wouldn't it be wise to take the money that we gave you to buy that piece of property? Then you wouldn't have to come up here and ask us for money just right out of the budget.
We don't tend to approach people about purchasing property. We were approached by Mrs. Parrott in this case, and the deal was, quite honestly, good enough that we thought that it was something that could benefit the college for years to come. It's flat, it's arable land, it has a house on it, which could be used by the college as well. So by placing, if we had placed the building where we initially were thinking of placing it, it would create a situation where we have one less space to build and to add on to the nursing building, for example, or to do a drone course, which is another thing that we've thought about doing in that space, is to have a drone chicane and everything built there, as well as at the airport. And of course, the only other place is behind Building 10, and that's in what Mark calls the fan of, and it's too close to the firing range.
But this is a good location for the building.
It is a good location for the building. It would be on the right side of the campus where all of the skilled trades occur.
Yes.
And it would make sense to place it there so that we could have all of those programs in proximity to each other.
And you could use part of that $500,000 if you had to.
Not really, because it's going to cost us $500,000 to do what we have, plus the additional money coming from the SCIF, the state this Senate Construction Infrastructure Fund.
Is that money contingent upon some level of match from the county?
It is not, I don't believe it's not contingent. We have that in place from the last SCIF approval from the General Assembly, and we have the ability to add to the $500,000 in order to build the building. We've had to scale back the building already because of the costs that are starting to rise in terms of the kind of building that we're trying to get. We'll probably end up looking at more like a 5,000 or 6,000 square foot building, but we want to make it as close to a state-of-the-art as possible. And I think that's why the $500,000 would go a long way towards us being able to create the kind of facility that the county can use for years to come.
When do you expect to get the money from the state?
We already have it.
You have it?
Yes. We have the money already. It's in the SCIF account with
the state level with the state treasurer's, that fund that brings in 0.25% or something. Oh, okay, a different one. Yeah.
Any other commissioner have a question? Tandy?
So what programs are actually going to be in this facility if it gets built?
It will be carpentry, electrical, masonry, HVAC, and what am I forgetting, Mark? Plumbing, yes, plumbing.
So all programs that we're constantly losing people to do that we need kids to do.
Yes, and that's, the whole idea is to try and promote the attention to those programs by parents and children in the high schools and in the middle schools. And in a way, try to keep the folks who are leaving to go elsewhere to stay here. And so that's why we feel like we need that state-of-the-art building in order to be able to make it do what it's supposed to do.
Good. Well, I wholly support the trades training program. We definitely need that. We need to continue with it. But the issue for me in this is growth at the community college. We're a county with accommodate stand 50,000 people in it, and we're not growing. And the community college has been growing for the last several years, mainly because of a lot of forces that governments have had control of. Doesn't mean that it's going to continue to grow. We have been through periods where community colleges went into severe contraction, and that happens mainly when the economy is doing well and there are plenty of jobs out there. There are plenty of jobs out there, but after we get through removing the welfare state from the federal government, which is going to happen in September, you're going to see people wanting to go to work, not go to the community college. They're going to be wanting to go to work because they have to earn money. So growth in the college, I don't think is a good thing. I think we've already overgrown the college. When I go by there and look across there, I see a lot of what look like empty buildings that are not being used, not being multi-purposed. You already said you've got places to build this building. And while I applaud you for coming to us with the opportunity to increase the size of the campus, I'm not going to vote for this simply because I don't think we ought to be growing and getting bigger. Keep in mind, Mr. Taxpayer, that the cost of maintaining that building and the cost of mowing the grass and everything else goes with it is paid by you as a Beaufort County taxpayer. It is not paid by the state or the federal government. So, I can't support it just for that reason.
All right. Ed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Loop, I'm glad you brought this project to us tonight. This is a ghost from the past. We had the same conversation when we purchased the land to build the pad that you have out there now. I think it's a brilliant idea. And anybody don't want to see the county grow, something wrong. I want to see it grow. And I was at your graduation this year, and I was impressed, highly impressed, to see those kids from Beaufort County walk across that stage to get those diplomas. And in as much as it cost us to cut the grass, as much as it cost us to cut the lights on, those kids stay here. They help pay for it too. And I'm going to support this. I'm glad you brought it back. 10 years ago, I think it's about 10 years ago, this project came up with Gary Breen. Was it Gary?
Yep.
One of our former commissioners. We beat it to death then, and we should have purchased it then, and you wouldn't be standing here now. And I'm going to support it wholeheartedly.
Jerry?
One of the things that we should be doing here in Beaufort County is making sure there are opportunities. And that is exactly what you're doing. And any person who owns a home or anything like that, they know how hard it is to find a plumber, an electrician, and all these different things. So if we can get our young folk in place to do these jobs, I think it is an outstanding opportunity for us, and we certainly need to move forward with it.
Thank you. Randy?
I'm voting for progress. I'm voting for these jobs. And if you're not growing, you're dying. So I'm going to be voting for this.
Thank you, sir.
Good example, last week, my air conditioner went out upstairs. And one of your students did the repair. He had to come back.
Oh, it's still working.
Had to come back the second time. But I don't want somebody coming from Pitt County over here to do the work. When we've got people graduating from high school that are looking for things to do. So I support that, and I'm going to make the motion that that the county make that purchase of the property for $160,000.
Thank you.
And we have a second. All right, all those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed. Thank you for your leadership, Dr. Luke.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your comments and insights.
Okay, we're down to the public comments. The first one canceled, and the next one is Sharon. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay. On the behalf of the citizen of the Pantega Township and taxpayer, I wish to bring to your attention a concern regarding the condition of the ditches in our community. Over time, the ditches have accumulated debris, overgrown vegetation, which have impeded proper drainage and increased the risk of localized flooding during heavy rainfall. I am a homeowner, and I have problems with my ditches, and I went to the DOT department, and I asked them to come out and to do assessment to see if they could clean my ditches, and I haven't heard from them as of yet. I went to them last year, and no one has responded or did anything for me. Also, I kindly request that the county arrange for a regular cleaning and maintenance of the ditches in our neighborhood. Addressing this issue will promote better drainage, protect local infrastructure, and enhance the quality of life for all of our residents. Thank you for your attention in this matter, and I look forward for your response and seeing the improvement in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joanne?
Good evening, gentlemen. It's been over a year since I was last here, and I didn't think I would be coming back. But the situation is, I need to speak and let you gentlemen know exactly what's going on. This is in reference to originally Jessica Jones, my granddaughter. Her 3 children were taken for truancy. And it's been going on, it's almost 18 months now. The children were placed with me January the 14th of 24, and then removed from me on May 22nd. Since that time, the really serious thing that is happening is with Jaden. Jaden has been moved 16 times since he left my home, different facilities. Originally, he wasn't into any kind of trouble. He wasn't on any medication. The fact that he was taken for truancy is the way it's stated, but what has happened is, under DSS's care, they took him and moved him to South Carolina. And during this time, His mother has not been able to see him at all. We just recently were able to get phone conversations where she can talk to him on a Zoom call. He went from South Carolina. He came back to Pitt just a few weeks ago. He was here for about 3 weeks. There was marked improvement while he was here. He's now been sent to Charlotte, North Carolina. We're not told his exact location. We're not privileged to that. DSS has forbid any communication other than their chaperoned phone calls, which is once a week, which the court did order that. To take Jaden is now 16. Not having any contact with his mother now for all these months is really doing a number on him. It doesn't make any sense why she cannot see him in person. But they're fighting it tooth and nail. He is now in a secured facility. We've gone through the ranks to see who we should report these things to. Our last time in court, we were told by Matthew Jackson that Faith Bell was now his client. That is the DSS worker that's in charge of Jaden. We were going to file a complaint on her because of everything that was going on, only to find out she is not licensed, she is not certified. Her classification is entry level as far as assessment. That's all she's supposed to do. However, this young lady has taken charge over everything. It's just, you just need to know what's going on, because what we're going to do is we're going to ask for a full investigation of this, because this is not right. This can't continue like that. There's too much damage being done to Jaden. He has, his mental health is at stake. When he left me, he's a big boy, and he's gained even more weight.
Your time is up, and I will give you 1 more minute.
Okay, thank you. His weight has increased. He's over 400 pounds now. He's on serious drugs, okay, at their recommendation. When he came back to Pitt County 3 weeks ago, he showed marked improvement. We were talking to him on the phone. We were having conversations with him. We weren't able to see him in person, but he marked improvement. He was taken to Integrated to Rita Davis, the doctor there. She said, pull him off the drugs, start to taper him off. Immediately, Miss Bell, 2 days later, had him shipped to Charlotte, North Carolina. He now has a new medical team that's working with him. So he's not coming off like she had suggested. We don't know what they're doing. But the fact that we can't even know his exact location, this is just not right.
Thank you.
We'd appreciate your help. We really would, if you would please look into this. Thank you.
Okay, we're down to the legislative updates, and I do not see our senator or our representative here. So we'll entertain a motion to, well, does anyone want to move an item for consent to further discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Item number 3, additional fund for the Project HGMP, and item number 6, the ESFLRP grant funds.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, to entertain a motion to approve the other items for consent.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. Let's see, Anita, do you want to go ahead and handle, or Hood, on the additional fund for Project HMGP? What's your question?
Well, I just want to force a vote on both of these issues so the commissioners are on record. HGMP is another one of those funds we talked about last month in which people don't improve their property, but somehow, and don't pick up a paintbrush for 30 years, and somehow they can get a grant to fix their house.
And at the taxpayer's expense. This is not a good project. This is an ill-formed project. It is rooted in socialism, and that's really what it's about. We don't need to be involved in these kinds of things. So I move that we refuse the additional funds.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, further discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor of accepting,
Refusing.
I'm sorry, refusing, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the additional.
Motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a motion to approve the additional $68,324. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. You want to go down to 54?
Yeah,
Page 54?
This is another program that I never knew existed, and from reading with Beaufort County and from reading the write-up that's in here, it's been here for a while. It's a program that's apparently, and I'll ask the manager this question, is it administered by Mideast? Do they administer this program for us? Okay. And here's the thing about this. This is another one of those programs where you cannot pick up a paintbrush for 30 years and the government will come and repair your house for you and put you back in it under a loan program. But if you live in the house, they will forgive $8,000 a year or something in that neighborhood until the loan is repaid. So you've got another free house repair project. And again, this whole thing is rooted in socialism. It was a bad idea when it was started, and I move that we refuse to be involved in this kind of socialism.
Is there a second?
I'll second. I'd like to make this comment. Hood's making a very salient point, a point that government overreaches from the top down, and it's been doing that for a long, long time, pretty much to keep the people in line. We're the people, and this is our money. We're $37 trillion in debt, and we're seeing now with the big, beautiful bill passing that we're spending close to $95 billion just to correct the invasion that came across the border over the last 4 years, and that's just going to be for this year. The government's out of control, and we're going to pay the price one day, either us or our children. I think it'll be our children, our children's children, providing we keep this republic. So I celebrate Hood for bringing this up. And we need to quit thinking how much money can we get from this source or that source, which enables our people to be more shiftless and unworthy to even own a house.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
So there are no county dollars associated with this at all. There are no county dollars, so there's no local tax dollars being to this program. This program helps. They are folks who meet income qualifications. They are disabled. They are veterans. There are folks who are specifically addressed by this program. So we think it's a program that adds value to the community. It adds value to your tax base. And there's no county dollars associated with it.
All right. Anyone else?
Nobody else.
Does it pertain to what's happening in Beaufort County?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We're Beaufort County Board of Commissioners, right?
Yeah. I mean, this particular motion, this is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Well, I don't mean to debate the manager on this. I mean, he sits over here and you guys sit here, but I will talk to you people. We need, yeah, you people, absolutely. I do think you ought to rethink this. I mean, we are in a whole new sphere of governing going forward. I mean, trust me, things have changed. There's been a sea change. It happened in November of 2024, and it's going to be that way going forward, and it'll probably continue. Because I'm seeing a lot of folks just fed up, And we're adding fuel to the fire of socialism, as Hood has expressed.
Okay.
Go.
All those,
I want to say something.
okay.
Well, the manager alluded to here as qualifications for this project. You qualify for this project if your income is 80% of the poverty level in Beaufort County. It's one of the things you qualify for. All right, let's look at this thing a little bit. What this program does is it encourages poverty, because we're paying people who are in poverty to get their house fixed. So why should they try to come out of poverty? You know, you look at it from the reverse thing. It actually encourages poverty, which is what it says it's trying to put a stop to. So this is another ill-formed socialistic program that doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay, entertain a motion to...
Motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the new motion, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. All right, we're down to items for decision, soil and water. Miss Ann, is she here, or are you doing it, Brian?
Yes, sir, I'm doing that one.
Okay.
Excuse me just one second. I was writing notes down, making sure I got all the things right. So page 321, it's a Grange Award. So the Soil and Water District was awarded a Grange, North Carolina Grange Conservation Easement Grant in the amount of $3,000. It is to be used to help with the legal costs and survey costs associated with the implementation of the ADFP grant, the conservation easements for the working farm. This is 100% funded by the Grange. There is no match required by Beaufort County. This would bring those funds in and recognize them in a budget amendment. We'd recommend your approval.
Okay, got a motion to second. Any questions?
I have something to say. This is another one, repeat of what I've said on the last two. This is another one of those programs that was formed out of socialism and the idea that they were doing something good for people by paying them to tie up their property forever or 100 years or whatever the length of time of this thing is, and they get paid for it for letting it sit there and do what it was going to do anyway. There are thousands of acres in Hyde County that have been taken up on these programs that people have made a lot of money for, land that I'm familiar with, that in 10 years would have been unfarmable. If suddenly they're getting paid to put this into a conservation program where Mother Nature was taking it anyway. It's another ill-formed program based on socialism and environmentalism. It's ill-conceived, and we shouldn't be supporting this kind of stuff.
Yes.
I have heard the word tonight, socialism, socialism, socialism. If the government gives me some funds to help me keep my business up, is that socialism?
Yes, sir.
Well, why did you take it?
For who?
The government.
They gave it to everybody.
Why did you take it?
No,
It's socialism.
Everybody.
Did you take it?
Why shouldn't I take it? It's
Thank
free
you.
money.
I just want to know you took it.
But we all know the corrupt, illegal things that happened under the Biden administration when they gave that money away. That's why a $150,000 house now costs $400,000. It does not mean that it's a good thing. We're elected officials. We're supposed to have the judgment to keep us from falling into these evil areas and these evil things. And if you're giving away money, I'm as entitled to my share of the government money as you are.
Okay.
You took the money too. So don't start pretending that there's something unusual about Hood Richardson.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I got to clear that up. I can't let you get away with that lie. I didn't take none of the money because I don't have no employees.
They sent you the check.
I did not get a check.
As a citizen, you got the check.
You got ARPA money.
No,
yeah.
You can tell me that all you want to, but I don't believe it.
Keep going.
All right.
Get the letter.
All right.
I got it.
Yes.
Okay, Hood's making a salient point, an important point. We people in America today are used to government taking over and being in control, and we're out of control. We're not in control of ourselves. We got people gaining a lot of weight. We got people on public assistance. There's some families where I hear that 20% of the families in America, they haven't had anybody to work at a real job for over 50 years. And these are things that are going on right now, while the other 80% of us even some of us at retirement age, are supporting those people. Now, it's not going to be able to go on much longer. We're at an inflection point. That's why you see in this bill, the Democratic Socialists are just screaming and crying. People will die. People will die. They have ingrained that into their minds that they will die if they don't get what they were given to begin with. So you make the point the Hood took the money because he has employees. Everybody took the money because they had employees, and you didn't take it because you didn't have employees. It's still socialism. It's socialism when the government closes down every business because of an almost fake disease to get somebody elected.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we're going to things are changing in America.
Did we have a motion? Did anybody make a motion?
I thank Hood Richardson for bringing that up to this point.
Well,
some of you guys will be looking forward to progress. I'm looking towards going back to the way things used to be.
Well, I can tell you, I've been involved in agriculture for 50 years. I've been to a lot of meetings, and one of the big concerns was trying to protect the environment with easements and trying to keep development from coming in.
That's right.
Most of it's been supported, and we found a way to handle it. It's going through the proper channels, and we're entitled to it, just like you said on the ARPA money. So there is nothing wrong with farmers and landowners. I don't know whether you participate in anything with your forestry land or not.
No, I don't get any subsidies.
You don't get any subsidies.
No, not from the government. I don't get any money from the government.
But if you applied, you would.
For what? How would you apply? That means I couldn't sell any property. If somebody came along and said, I want to buy your property, I couldn't sell it to them.
You could. You could get in like a 15-year program and sell it at 16.
And property's a timing thing.
Right.
I'm not going to let the government tell me anything that I can or can't do with my property. That's the way I look at it. Now, if some farmer wants to do it because he's on the dole, I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go there.
Well,
I won't go there. I've owned property. I've owned large amounts of woodland for 36 years. I've never gotten a dime from the government.
There is no farmer that's had a shotgun held to their head when they signed up into these programs.
No, they rushed to them.
One.
They're very well organized for dipping into the public trough. But, Mr. Chairman, let me follow you with what you just said. For 15 years, people were in here saying, we've got to protect prime farmland. Oh, we must protect prime farmland. Oh, isn't it? We've got to do something. And they did all kinds of things to so-called protect prime farmland until the solar farms hit.
Bingo.
And all of a sudden, there was a lot of money in it. And that farmer, I know one that had about 1,000 acres that he put into it at one time. And he put it in it for the money. So is that protecting? That was prime farmland. So it depends on which way the money is flowing. And it all goes towards socialism.
It all depends on the property owner, and you believe in property rights. So if the property owner wants to sign either one of those deals, it's his business. It is not Hood Richardson.
But the government provides the socialism.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
Socialism.
Just keep in mind, this is a numbers game, and we are ready to vote. We got a motion on the floor. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
A favor of what now? What are you?
This $3,000, the $3,000. Those opposed? Wow, what a mess.
That's a numbers game, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, that's a numbers game. Just remember that.
All right, we're down to the Health Department. Clean Water State Revolving Fund, Decentralized Wastewater System Pilot Program Grant. Stacy?
All right. Good evening, gentlemen. There seems to be a lot of talk about grants tonight. I'm kind of preface what I'm going to say here with some information. Coming over here tonight, the Clean Water Management State Revolving Fund has now had a new pilot program for decentralized septic systems, for individual septic systems, for funding. What you can do, there's different ways you can get money from them. You can do zero interest loans. You can do 100% principal forgiveness, which is kind of what we're shooting for. All this money back in 2013, the General Assembly had created the State Water Infrastructure Authority to help disperse these funds. These funds normally are federal funds passed through from Title VI of the Federal Water Pollution Control Act, the Clean Water Act, when it was amended in 1987. So these funds have been around a while, handed to the states. But now there's been a lot of money that's gone to different municipalities and non-for-profit organizations for water and wastewater utilities. But now they want to try to do something with individual septic systems. So it's kind of a new program. There's some, town of Nags Head has gotten these funds as zero interest loans. They usually get about $500,000 every year to do zero interest loans for people there. But what we're asking to do is, we know we have issues with septic systems in Beaufort County. We're very near shellfish waters, nutrient sensitive waters. And as we know, especially since COVID, the cost of a septic system has basically tripled in cost for folks that come in our office. What used to cost $3,000 on average, and average system in Beaufort County now will cost you $8,000 to $10,000. I mean, that's just starting out. If you get into building mound systems and pump systems, you'll go $25,000, $30,000 now. So what we're looking at, what I was looking at, those funds that are available, is trying to, so many residents now find themselves unable to afford the repairs. And I'm not talking about folks that's at the bottom of poverty level. I'm talking about folks that's just, basically what this program will be shooting for would be, the first priority would be, they participate in Medicaid or SNAP would be your first priority folks, or under that 80% state median household income, as Mr. Richardson was just talking about. The state median income used in this particular grant is $69,904. That's their number they use as median household income. However, what we would like to do, and what the Division of Water Infrastructure, who approves all these funds go through, is as long as they're under 100% of the state median household income, they would still qualify. So as long as you had folks that were under that, as a household, under that $69,904, they would still qualify. So, you know, we try to think and capture the unmet needs, and the ones I see on a daily basis. Or you may have a couple who are on Social Security income, you know, who have this $8,000 to $10,000 bill pop up, and you just can't afford to do anything with it. So that's what we're trying to shoot for, is that. We've gotten support. Sound Rivers has offered to give a letter of support for it as well. What we would like to do, it is a 100% forgivable loan. However, technically it makes it a grant, is what it would be. 100% forgivable. We would like to apply for the $250,000, which is the maximum you can apply for 100% principal forgiveness. On that, anytime you draw those funds down from Clean Water Trust Fund, there's a 2% closing cost. So that cost to the county would be $5,000 in total at the end. It may not be $5,000 right up front. It would be if you were awarded the grant, and it'll be however much you drew down. If you drew down $100,000 at first, it would be 2% of that would be the cost. So at the end of the day, if you get the $250,000 maximum, it will be a cost of $5,000. Mideast Commission, Jamie with Mideast, has been real involved with this. They've agreed to administer the program if we'd like them to do that, which we would. That is an admissible expense through that grant funding. They've offered to do that at 10% of that $250,000. The Southeast Rural Community Assistance Project, SRCAP, which is another agency that gives a lot of low-interest loans for septic systems. They have actually offered to complete the grant writing for us at no charge. That's about a $3,900 savings by them doing the grant application for us and providing it to the county to submit. So they've been a great help in trying to, everybody working together and trying to do this. These applications are accepted on a rolling basis, and they need to be submitted by early August for their September meeting for the State Water Infrastructure Authority board meeting. So if it's not approved, then they will go one more cycle. On that rolling cycle, they'll get one more shot at getting approved in that second time around. So basically, what I'm asking is approval of the resolution that was, I believe, was in your packet already, allowing us to apply for the Clean Water Management State Revolving Fund Decentralized Wastewater System Pilot Program, which allows the county manager to submit the CWSRF application for the decentralized system pilot program project.
Stacy, could I ask you a question?
Sure, ask away.
What was the poverty rate? You said
The median household income rate was $69,904, and that's from the 2023 American Community Survey 5-year estimate.
And this is a forgivable loan.
It is a 100% forgivable loan. That's the reason
And
really why.
That's the only criteria. You got to meet that poverty line.
They got to meet, as long as they're below the median income, they would qualify. And that's for anything through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. That's the highest you can go. It's got to be below that level.
I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution.
We're not
Wait a minute. You get a chance.
We can have a motion.
You get a chance to
I
ask.
got a motion.
It's not your rules. You get a chance to ask.
Okay, we got a motion. Is there a second? And we got a second. Okay, Hood.
You know, I expect to be treated with a little bit of courtesy on this board. If we're asking questions, everybody should be able to ask questions before the motion.
You can.
That's called courtesy.
It's called procedure.
It's something you guys don't understand. Okay, let's get into this just a second.
Sure.
Why won't we just loan the money to people and then they pay it back no interest if you want to do the right thing with this? That way, most of these people that are in that low income are elderly. Should they pass on in the property go into an estate, then the money would be returned to the taxpayers.
You can do a loan program, but when you get into a loan program, your administration cost is probably going to be more. And then what happens is, and Mr. Alligood may have some input on this, but you get into the loan business and somebody doesn't pay it, with Clean Water State Revolving Fund, you're on the hook for it. So when you become the bank and somebody defaults, it's on you.
All right,
that's the reason why me personally have tried to stay out of the loan end of it, to make it easier to try to
I understand,
manage.
but let's go back to this whole concept that the government is going to spend this money to help people. What is the difference within the definition of socialism in fixing your roof and fixing your septic tank?
Your septic tank could impact public health. It can impact the environment. That's the whole reason we probably have 130 applications a year for repairs for septic systems, which is a normal thing. You probably have a good 10% of those that really do struggle to pay to get it done, and we do take action. We take people to court. We can show you everybody we've taken to court. It's a $100 fine, and if they don't fix it, then we can go back and file the same charge again. So, there's instances where we've identified, and I should have gotten into that a little bit too, Mr. Richardson. We've identified some areas, the Citizens of Southside Together, I think that group is called. Yeah, Citizens of Southside Together group. They were part of another, they partnered with East Carolina and were looking at trying to get some grant funds, and they had identified about 60 homes with septic issues. We don't know how many of those 60 were actual failures. I've tried to get some information on that from ECU, but it failed too. But there's a potential starting point with those known issues, as well as issues that we track ourselves in our office, that these funds could really do. And again, it's not about the person, it's about the problem we're trying to stop from affecting public health.
Well, and I understand, Stacy, and you know where I am on septic tanks. We talk about them a lot all the time. But I'm still going to vote against this, because what we're doing is we're using the government to do something that the private individual should be doing. And these people have children, and they have other people and other assets, and I've heard the poverty line all along. So, we're creating another government program, just like the 3 that I voted against before. And so, I've just stopped voting against government programs that take the hard-working people that go to work every day and take their money and give it to people that, and for the most part, don't deserve it. And I'll give you one example of this, and then I'm going to move on, not take any more of your time. On raising houses and repairing houses from the hurricanes. We get around, I see things. I have personally seen people have their house repaired at government expense, pretending that they were living in it, and they were living somewhere else. And as soon as the house was repaired, they sold it, put the money in their pocket. Okay, now let's I'm just tired of these kinds of programs that don't actually help the public. They contribute to bad character as much as they do anything. So I'm not going to vote for this.
Okay. All right. Jerry?
I think it's really sad that Commissioner Richardson can sit here and say that people only want to get over when you have people with real problems. When you can't use your bathroom, when you can't flush, you have a real problem. And if you don't have the money to fix it, you're in a bad place. I mean, I don't care what you do in life, there are going to always be some folk who are going to take advantage of the system. But it's time for us to stop thinking about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Let's do some investigations as to who's doing what that's not right, and stop just putting an end to programs that's helping people. We've got to get beyond this. If Hood and Stan, this is what they want to do, that's fine. But for us more reasonable people, we understand and we get it.
Okay.
Yeah, you more reasonable people close Snowden.
Okay.
Commissioners don't close schools, you man.
Yes, they do.
All right.
You do.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? All right, we're going to take, thank you, Stacy. We're going to take a 15-minute break to the budget amendment, the revaluation. Lloyd?
Gentlemen, good evening. So mine's pretty plain and straightforward. So we entered into a contract with Vince Evaluations to do the revaluation. I believe it's been around 3 years ago now. Board voted on the contract, vetted it, went through the process, et cetera, bids, all these things. So with the market going up, with the economy doing what it's done, we have some overage. It was mentioned in the contract, the appeals period. Once we've gotten into a certain amount, we have had more than was expected 3 years ago or so, and that's the money that's in front of you currently. That's the request, is to pay the rest of the contract. I will also say, my staff has taken over doing the appeals now. We are done with the, Vince Evaluations has done their work, done their job. They are out of the county. Everything else has been us. As you gentlemen know from the Board of Equalization Review, we took over a little while back, and we've been working those cases.
Okay, I'll entertain or is there a question of Lloyd? I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget amendment of $241,782.
Motion to approve.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you, Lloyd.
Sure.
All right, the next two items is from the Sheriff's Office and Shane. You're going to talk about the insurance reimbursement on first.
Yes, sir. The county's received $24,212 from insurance. We're asking to put that back into the budget, last year's budget, to cover costs.
I'll entertain a motion to.
Whoa. I got a question.
Okay.
Let's see now, the damages that were done, the county has already paid for making right. We've corrected all of those things. Replaced the vehicles or whatever it was.
This is money that from collisions and stuff that we paid out of our budget to fix, and we're just getting this is the insurance payback to the county, and we're just asking that money be put back into funds.
Yeah, but see, here's where I have a problem with this, because your budget includes the cost of those repairs. They're not separate from the repairs. Just because you have an insurance claim, it doesn't come out of the budget. That money should be returned to the county's budget, and you shouldn't get a reward for bad behavior.
I'm sorry.
Well, you can go out and have some more wrecks and get some more money if we do this.
Well,
It's
the
a good
majority
way
of
to
these
make
wrecks are
money.
not our fault.
I understand that, but what I'm getting at is, within your budget is considered a certain amount for repairs. And just because an insurance company pays us back doesn't mean that the sheriff's department should be able to keep the money, because the taxpayers have already paid for it one time. You're asking the taxpayers to pay for it twice.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson, it's really just a budgetary item. You're right, we have paid for the repairs. The repairs have been made, they've been paid for. It was paid for out of the sheriff's office budget. And now we have those insurance proceeds have been received now, and we're just asking that those funds go back to his budget to cover the repairs that he paid for out of his budget.
Yes, well, what I'm saying though, and here's where we have a difference. When we approved the budget, we assumed there was going to be a certain amount of repairs that was going to be made that was included in the budget. Now, if you're telling me that the budget says specifically that insurance paid repairs are not a part of the budget, then we have a problem.
I can pretty much tell you that because we don't really know how many accidents we're going to have. We don't plan for those. We kind of address those once we get the insurance proceeds and as it comes up.
All right, let's go at this way. What budget year are we talking about?
It is last year.
Last year's budget. So was the sheriff over on his budget?
He's over in repairs, yes.
No, in his whole budget, did he spend more money than he was budgeted to spend?
Probably not, but all the bills have not come in yet. They continue to come in through August because of timing of mailing and receiving invoices.
If he's
and
not over on his budget, then why do we need to put this money back in his budget? If we put this money back in his budget this year, does not that roll over into next year?
No.
So if you put it in his budget,
And he doesn't spend it, it rolls back into fund balance. It's
Okay,
really just to
all right.
cover ourselves for the audit to make sure we don't show any negative over expenditures.
do we make a cutoff on purchase orders on
Yes.
July the 1st? So he can't,
Actually,
because
it's
he's getting
May
his
3rd.
$23,000, he can't rush out and spend it.
Purchase orders were cut off on May the 3rd, unless it's an absolute emergency.
So the budget is fixed.
And just to clarify, it goes into last year's budget. It's not for anything new. It
Right.
won't go into this budget. It's on last year's.
Last year's budget.
Yes, sir.
Right, yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Look, a little courtesy will go a long way on this board. If a commissioner's asking questions, he should be allowed to ask questions. After all, we are elected to protect the public's money, so you guys want to deny the protection of the public's money? What I've seen tonight, you're pretty good at it, because you're batting 100.
You got another comment on this?
Yes, I do
agenda?
have.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what you're saying is rolling the money back from an accounting standpoint is really a zero-sum game, because if the sheriff is not over on his budget last year, then that money will go into our fund balance. All right, thank you.
Okay. We got a motion and a second? And second. All right. Any other questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? All right. You want to go to the next item, the vehicle transfer request to Beaufort?
Yes, sir.
Community
We have
College.
a vehicle that's either up for surplus, or asking to transfer that to Beaufort Community College for use of their training program for BLET, training program for sheriff's office, other law enforcement we were participating in. And we're just asking that vehicle be transferred over to them. They will cover the cost of stripping the decal off the side, and that's it for the county.
Okay.
Is this one of the vehicles that you surplused earlier in the?
No, sir, it is not.
This
No,
is
sir.
an additional vehicle?
That's correct. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, Tandy?
So we surplus two earlier. Is this one in better shape or worse shape than the two we surplus?
It's mileage out at 150s.
Well,
It's not-
if this miles out, my company mileage is out at 175,000 now.
Okay.
Again, is it in worse shape or in better shape than the other two?
It's about the same.
Okay.
Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion to approve the transfer to the college.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, Public Works, Christina.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Welcome.
The first item I'd like to talk about this evening is regarding our facilities budget, similar to the item that you just approved for the Sheriff's Office. It's a facilities funding request for fiscal year 2025. So again, that's the fiscal year that just finished. So it's a requesting to move money in to cover the additional expenses that were very much unexpected, dealing with the fire that was set in the Beaufort County Jail on March the 12th. So again, those costs were not budgeted, estimated, or prepared for, so asking for a budget amendment to cover those costs.
Not a change order.
No, sir, it's not a change
Let me
order.
ask a question.
Yes.
So I asked the finance officer, so is this the same kind of a deal that we just discussed? If he's not over, it's going to roll into the general fund? All right.
We might make a budget that's going to be close to goals. We certainly did budget for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So moved.
Go ahead.
Do we not have insurance to cover this fire?
The deductible was at a certain amount that did not cover that. So
We do.
We filed a
It's-
claim.
We filed a claim. It's a $50,000 deductible, so we'll get a small amount back, but not
All right, got a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, have a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right. You want to go to the next item, the solid waste collection system planning.
Yes, sir. I'd like to provide an update for the solid waste collection services. This was requested at last month's commissioners meeting. If you recall, there was quite a bit of discussion regarding what the future of the solid waste collection would look like in Beaufort County. So Wes and I put together this program, and Brandon will be pulling that up. I'll go ahead and start. Again, the program or the slides are included in your book. I have made a few changes to the slides, and I'll note those once we get there. But again, so the purpose of the presentation this evening, wanted to be very clear as far as what we were talking about and what you had requested at the last meeting, because again, a lot has been discussed about the solid waste collection system. So this evening, we'll give a brief history, and then I'll jump right into the collection site analysis of the individual collection sites, and then I'll finalize with a recommendation to you based upon your request from last month. So again, the brief history. We have been talking about solid waste collection planning for quite a few years here, for those of you that have been on the board. Starting back in May of 2019, CDM Smith provided a analysis of our collection system. And then in January of 2022, Garrett and Moore analyzed the existing solid waste collection site program and made a presentation to the Board of Commissioners, which included information on adding one or more mega sites to provide all Beaufort County residents unrestricted access for household waste disposal and recycling. So again, that's kind of a quote from that initial presentation. At the end of the month, during the Commissioners' Retreat, this concept was further discussed in detail with Garrett and Moore and staff, and included the number of collection sites, their locations, tonnage trends, transportation costs, staffing costs, compliance issues, and desired services. So again, a lot of detail was given at that time about all of the many different aspects. And then in March of 2022, Garrett and Moore was authorized by the board to provide conceptual design, site selection, and property acquisition for the assistance of the development of 2 mega sites. The decision by the board was to have one on the north side of the river and one on the south side of the river. So since the very beginning, there have always been 2 sites planned. Conceptual design and site acquisition has continued since that time, with numerous updates given at Board of Commissioners meetings and workshops. I think that number is close to like 15 or 16 times that we've discussed it in meetings. So again, there's been a lot of conversation. Going to the next slide, February of this year, Garrett and Moore was authorized to provide engineering services through the construction phase of 2 solid waste collection sites. And again, the land acquisition was completed. Next, Brandon, we have the collection site analysis. Now, there's a lot of information in these next slides, so I'm going to go through each slide, and if you have questions, please interrupt me at that point, so we're looking at the correct slide in order to get the information. The challenges of the existing collection sites. The operating and maintenance costs continue to increase. Also discussed is that only 5 of our 10 sites are owned by the county. So that means there are 5 sites that are currently operating that are leased on an annual basis. So there are additional costs that are expended for those 5 sites. And then also trucking costs are associated with the collection site cost. There's also low utilization of several of the sites, and we'll show some numbers showing that. And there's also significant overlap on the north side for the Gatesville, 5 Points, Landfill, River Road, Pantiga, and Ransomville sites. And again, I'll give more information on that on later slides. So first, looking at the operation and the maintenance cost, summing up that for each individual site, we went through to come up with the cost. Republic Services staffs the existing 10 collection sites. Again, that's something we've spoken about numerous times. When you drive to the collection sites, there are Republic Services employees that are there greeting you. They are not county employees. So the cost for that at the 10 sites is in fiscal year 2025 was $385,132. Again, that's just for fiscal year 2025. The additional costs that go to operating a solid waste collection site also would include our security cameras, rock for the driveways, signage. For fiscal year 2025, what came out of our operating budget was $53,818. Again, that does not include the capital costs, so the larger projects that have been done in recent years. So that number is actually lower than what it would typically take if you're looking at what your average cost was to maintain a site. And then also, as I spoke to earlier, 5 of our existing sites are leased, so that's an additional $38,955. So the average cost for one collection site in fiscal year 2025, which again is low because of the skew of the capital projects, is $47,790. That just to give you that number to kind of put off to the side and to remember in the future. And the chart that's also shown on the slide to the right is showing the 5 sites that are leased, which are 5 Points, Yatesville, Pantego, Buck Jones, and Aurora. So Republic Services hauls containers from the collection sites to the transfer station. Again, as a reminder, that's located on Flanders Filters Road, which is west of Washington. So quite a bit of hauling is included for all of the containers, which of course increases trucking the farther away you are from Washington. So if you go to the next page, Brandon, again, we were talking about utilization. So the next slide shows utilization in tons. Again, the presentation that you have in your agenda book shows the tonnage that was received at all 10 sites from 2019 through 2025. Now, what has been added on the slide that's up on the screen are the last 2 columns, which is the 5-year average for each of those sites, and then also a percentage of the total amount of tons. So again, I took the 5-year average because 2019 and 2020, there was a skew of some storm debris and some storm waste that came in. But for the past 5 years, as you can see, it's, you can also see the totals are listed on the screen. You can see that it's running pretty, pretty steady, 13,000, 11,000, 11,000, 11,500, and 12,000 average tons per year. So again, that 5-year average, we're looking at just around 12,000 tons, and looking at the percentage of those 4 sites that I named earlier, you see 5 Points, Buck Jones, Landfill Gate, and Yatesville are 4 out of the 5 of the lower performing sites, or not performing sites, sites that have received the 5 Points, Buck Jones, Landfill, and Yatesville. They are 4 of the lowest 5. So 5 Points represents 6.6% of our total tons. Buck Jones is 5.2%, Landfill Gate is 4.4%, and Yatesville is 3%. Included in the middle of that is Ransomville, which is at 5.7. So again, these sites are really close as compared to our River Road site, which is at 26%. So you're looking at around 5% versus 26 at River Road, 20 at Chocowinity, and 14 at Cherry Run. Those are our three busiest sites. On the next page, you'll see this represented in a different way, which is showing the lowest number of loads. So again, trucking. And again, the four sites that I had mentioned previously, 5 Points, Buck Jones, Landfill Gate, and Yatesville are 4 of the lowest 6. So Pantego and Ransomville are in the midst of that. But again, you're looking at a difference of 0.2%. So not a lot of difference. 5 Points is at 6.8%, Buck Jones at 6, Landfill Gate at 5.7, and Yatesville at 3.6.
Landfill Gate, Hawkins Beach Road.
Yes. Okay, so now we're getting to the circles that were requested and that you've seen before. This map is actually, I know that when CDM did their presentation back in 2019, they had a map with circles, and of course Garrett Moore has had many maps with circles, giving us an idea of the collection sites. So I've gone in, and in order to make it a little bit easier to understand, again, this is a slide that's updated, that's not in your agenda, but this is showing the sites, our current sites. So again, it's showing all 10 sites, and it's showing the overlap that occurs with the different circles. The color differentiation is showing the owned sites versus the leased sites. So the circles that are in gold are the Cherry Run, Chocowinity, River Road, Landfill, and Ransomville. And then you see the blue sites, which are the leased sites, are 5 Points, Yatesville, Buck Jones, Aurora, and Pantego. So the items that have been discussed previously, and the path that was chosen was again looking at the what was termed significant overlap of the 5 Points, Landfill, Yatesville, Pantego, and Ransomville site. So the 5 sites on the north side of the river, and you see the overlap that is there in those circles. And again, this is a 5-mile radius from the collection sites. That's what the circles are representing, 5 miles. So then, based upon the direction and the information given, with the discussion of the 2 mega sites, looking for parcels that would help to alleviate that. We were looking for something that was centralized between those sites in that part of the county in order to help with that overlap. On the south side of the river, again, looking for something that was centralized in the county in order to maximize the number of people that would go to that site to be serviced. So if you go to the next slide, what you'll see is the representation of what has been previously discussed, which is showing the existing sites of the Cherry Run, the River Road, and Chocowinity. They're in the dark pink to the left. On the far right, on the north side of the river, is Pantego and Ransomville. And then Aurora is located in the bottom right. Also, those are the 6 sites that has been discussed that for them to remain open. And that's the ones that we use to base the siting of the mega sites. So then if you go to the next slide, back up one. That one, yeah. So again, you still see the same sites that are existing in the pink, and then in the middle you see the green, which are representative of the mega sites location. So now that the mega site locations are known, so now those circles are drawn with a 5-mile radius around those locations, just as the others are. So this would give you a representation of the coverage area based upon these 8 sites being opened. And then if you go to the next slide, oh, back up one more. Yes. So again, this is the same slide that you just looked at in the pink and the green, except now it is now the gold and the blue, which is going back to the sites the county owns versus the ones that are leased. So what you see is now we're showing 8 sites, 6 of them the county own, and then there are 2 in the Pantego and the Aurora area that we're still showing that are currently leased. But what has been said in previous meetings is that we would contact the current landowners to see if they would be willing to sell those parcels, and if not, then look for other parcels that are in that same general vicinity. So what you'll see in the representation and in the slide, you'll still see the names of Pantego and Aurora. Just be reminded it may or may not be that exact piece of land on that exact road, and it may just be somewhere a little bit down the road if that's needed in the future. But this overall is what the goal was when everything first started looking at the different things, was to minimize the overlap of the existing sites and to locate property where the county owns it so that any capital improvements that were done would be done to property that is owned by the county, not owned by other people. So I personally believe that the mega site locations that we were able to obtain satisfied the criteria that we set as far as the overlap in providing the service area. So then, based upon that, again, those are, there's nothing that I've spoken about in the past 5 minutes that's new information. It's all things that has been discussed previously. And so that was the criteria and that we were given to go and to complete certain tasks, and I believe that's what's been done. But also, from the last meeting, it was asked that we give a recommendation as far as these specific sites. So on the last slide, I do have what I would consider is the staff recommendations, but I will also say that these recommendations are based upon the information that has been discussed in the past years and what we've been working towards. So the first recommendation is that staff requests that the Board of Commissioners authorize the following changes as previously discussed. The first one is when the mega sites are operational, the closure of 5 Points, Landfill Gate, Yatesville, and Buck Jones sites. So, and again, if you want to go back and we can pull up the map and you can see those again. But those are the 5 Points, Landfill Gate, Yatesville, and are the ones on the north side of the river that are very close to the mega site location. And then the Buck Jones site is the one that's centrally located on the south side of the river. And the new mega site location covers quite most of that same service area. The next item that we would request is that also that, again, direction to obtain ownership of sites in the Pantego and Aurora areas, either the existing property or acquire property in a close proximity. Again, that's, as I said earlier, that's the direction that we've been given and that we're working towards. The third item is to revise the waste acceptance guidelines at the Aurora, Cherry Run, Chocowinity, Pantego, Ransomville, and River Road sites to accept only bagged household waste and recycling. Again, this is discussion that has been had numerous times. I believe it was a consensus of the board, but it has not been formally voted on and given that direction. But again, those sites listed would be all of the remaining sites. And then also to reduce the operating schedules at the Aurora, Cherry Run, Chocowinity, Pantego, Ransomville, and River Road sites. Again, those are the 6 sites, not including the mega sites. So the sites that we currently have, that we would, because of the level of service that would be provided at the mega sites, the discussion has been that they would only accept the bag trash or what can go into the compactors at the other sites. So what would be, is more commonly termed household waste. Something, as we've stated numerous times before, if it fits in the white trash bag or maybe your black trash bag, but as long as it fits in the container and in the compactor was the direction.
I got a Jerry.
Yes.
With the other sites simply taking a household trash, will the Flanders filter option still be available as well?
The transfer station?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, the Republic operates the transfer station Monday through Friday all the time. So whether the board chooses to continue accepting C&D on Saturday, that would be discussed.
But I'm just thinking during the week, if somebody don't want to go down to the mega site, especially like with me, I live northwest of Washington, so it would be more convenient for me to just go to Flanders Field, and I know I have to pay at Flanders Field, but when I think about my time and effort, it's worth it for me to just run over to Flanders and whatever C&D I got, just dump it there. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, and absolutely. The payment at Flanders Filters Road would be available anytime that the transfer station is open. The question, there would need to be some policy changes if we were to allow more than that, because there is a small amount that's dumped there now by people. And what we run into is your proof of residency and that type of thing. So, but again, policy, we could look at policy changes and if that was the desire of the board.
Yes, Tandy. I got a couple questions. So if we shut the landfill gate site, will that still be an option for tree limbs and things like that if we have storm? Because if I remember correctly, the north side was not going to have that kind of refuge availability on it.
Right. The design as it currently stands for the mega sites is that on the north side of the river, at the mega site, vegetative debris would be accepted there. So on a typical resident would be able to go to the mega site to dispose of their limbs, their grass clippings, small items like they typically do at other sites now.
North
In
and
a
south.
storm, I'm sorry?
North and south.
Yes, north and south, that would be available at the new mega sites. Now, on the storm debris side, we would continue to use the Hawkins Beach old landfill for storm debris. That way it's segregated and we're able to track the quantities and that type of thing for FEMA reimbursement or whatever may be needed. On the south side of the river, if you recall, the mega site design there also has additional land that would be used for storm debris that could be segregated. But both of the mega sites would accept yard debris.
The revised guidelines. So basically, at Cherry Run Road, you have a compactor and you have a bulk site where people are throwing in their couches and things like that, and then you have your limbs. So those two containers would not be there.
That is correct.
We would not have people thinking, hey, I'm going to show up with those stuff there. We're just going to have that one compactor there, and that would be it for those.
Yes, sir. Things that can go in the compactor. Yes, sir.
Right. And then what kind of revised hours are we talking about for those things? Because we're already shut down on Tuesday for them to do maintenance that I've never seen them do.
The hours, I did not go into that specific level tonight because I did not think that the commissioners would want to plan for that for 2 years in advance.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I understand, no, it's not there. Again, that's why it's not in the program. But again, that has been a discussion to have to have reduced hours so that perhaps, site attendants would be able to work the Cherry Run, 1 or 2 sites and they could shift from day to day.
I just don't want to see them shutting the sites down on Saturday and Sunday where working people have the need and ability to drop trash off. I mean, we're getting a lot of flack off of the mega sites to start off with, and then if you start shutting it, the convenience sites that we will retain, pay mine, we're keeping them all, some of them, we're not shutting some of them down. I don't want to see Saturday and Sunday be cut out on any of them.
I understand that, and there's no doubt Saturdays and Sundays are busy times at the collection sites. So, and I would suspect that, again, you've seen the tonnage numbers, you've seen the load numbers. We've looked at it, you can look at it every year. But until the mega sites are open and we're looking at the number of people, how many people will actually choose to only go to the site that's close to their home, it's right now for us, it would truly be a guess to guess what that is. Again, my personal belief is that just as when you drive through town and the majority of people that live in town and have curbside pickup, all of their waste is able to go into the larger trash can. So it fits into that. It's, 3 or 4 bags are inside of that. So I think the average household, that is their normal waste. I think throwing away a sofa or a mattress is not a normal week-to-week occurrence.
Give me a chainsaw and I can put anything in a black plastic bag.
I understand that, and I suspect that's exactly what will occur, and that's fine, because then it goes into a compactor. Right now, as we all know, you go to the sites and you have a compactor and you have bulk waste, and you look at the container of the bulk waste, and there could be bagged trash in there, and that shouldn't be there. It should be in the compactor. So I think that it will help us. It will definitely increase the tonnage and hopefully reduce the number of loads at the sites that do remain open, because it will be compacted.
Christine, didn't you say the ones that are going to be closed, the people, the area that's, you're going to close the sites, they're still averaging 5 miles from the mega site? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Brandon, if you could go back to one of the, sir, okay.
Okay. I was just wanting to know, I was just going to make clear that you said it will be 5 miles, at least 5 miles from, they will still have access.
The majority of the county still has that a 5 mile. Yes, sir. Now, and one of the things to also keep in mind is your density of your populations. Again, along Highway 32 headed towards Plymouth, that's a lot of, it's a lot of farmland, a lot of forested land, not as many residences that are along that.
How do you know I was talking about 32?
32 and 99, those are your hunts, so.
I was.
And again, you look at the map and you do see the circles, the most northern part along 32 is not. But again, if you go back to what we have currently existing, those people are driving down to 5.2. So it is a greater distance for them, but it's not a large distance.
The reason I was asking is because if you look at on 32, at the Washington County line, that's more than 5 miles to
yes, sir.
to 264.
Yes, sir. And again, that's why the map is shown there, and it shows that, and it clearly, by no means am I saying that every residence in Beaufort County will be within 5 miles as a crow flies to a collection site.
I know you don't have them jammed together like that, but I just wouldn't, public listening here.
I understand. Yes.
Speaking directly to that, I did do some mapping of the locations, and up at the northern end of 32 was one of the farthest points. There were a couple of places on the south side that were the farthest points, but I don't think anybody was more than, and this is drive mileage, not air mileage, I don't think anybody was more than 11 miles away from a site. And when you look at 32, they are already 9 or 10 miles away from a site. So 5 points to the new mega site, I think, was about 3 miles difference. So there's not a lot of change there for those outlying locations as far as how long it would actually take them to get to a site.
I understand what you're saying. I also took into consideration, you're talking about the tonnage at those locations also. So I understand it. I just You know, just got to look out for home now.
Understand? We understand, and again, the density, the population density affects a lot of it.
Yes. On the north side of the river and the south side of the river with debris, whether it be, vegetative debris, it will be chipped, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. The reason I'm favoring mega sites, and we haven't decided to go towards any kind of recycling yet as a group, but if we have the mega sites, it'll be a lot easier to do it at some point if we get the certain commissioners up here who will do what it takes to go towards recycling and be able to figure out a way to not charge the taxpayers anymore, which that plan is available right now, but I've talked about it many times. So I'm in favor of the mega sites for that one reason. We will be able to one day recycle and recycle efficiently, and that we are shredding, chipping vegetative debris right now is a good step in the right direction. I would love to see if we could get a glass crusher at some point if we cannot sell glass on the open market, because if you reduce it to granular material, it can be given to other folks to use wherever they need to use it. It's a great material, and that's weight, heavy weight, that will not be going into the landfill. And we need to think about that. You got to spend money, save money. And solid waste is just one of those things that commissioners do. Rather than give money here, give money there, give money here, give money there. This is one of the things we do, and we're supposed to do it well. So the mega sites is a concerted movement towards a more efficient solid waste department.
Any questions about the recommendation? I'll ask, is the staff asking us for any particular action tonight on these recommendations at this point?
So I think, Christine and I have had this conversation. I think that these are recommendations from staff. Ultimately, the board is going to make the decision on this. I mean, whether you decide that, no, you don't want to close any of your sites. Ultimately, you're going to have to pay for that. It is an enterprise fund. It has to ride on its own. So user fees are what pay for this. There are no general tax dollars associated with it. So you've got to make those trade-offs. Politically, this board may say, I don't want to close anything, and we'll have to figure out how to pay for that. Or you may say, yes, we like staff's recommendations, we want to do that. Ultimately, it's in the board's hands where you want to be with that, whether the board needs additional information, whether the board wants to have additional public comment on it. You can certainly do that. I'm sure you're going to hear about it one way or the other, and you may want to try to funnel that into a particular time to hear that, but it's however the board wants to do. But from a staff's perspective, we have an obligation to make you a recommendation that we feel is in the best interest. It's for the board to make the decision about that and to account for the business-like function and the political environment that it falls into to make the final decision.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think we should give these people an endorsement. That's what we asked for them to come back. What are you talking about with these things you're talking about, so that they can move forward with the understanding, as the manager said, that the recommendations are wide open. We're going to have to go back and approve each one of those before it's over with anyway, and we can certainly change them. But so that our staff can go forward with their work, I think that we should give them an approval tonight.
I'll second that. And approval that what we
Subject
so
to the-
far looks pretty good.
Yeah, subject to those conditions of it being wide open, because their hands are really bound. They're going to be sitting there waiting, and they need to be moving forward.
Losing money when they're not.
Okay, you make a motion, or did you?
I made a motion, he seconded it.
All right, any questions?
I mean, I don't have a problem with
Hood.
Sir?
The question that I have is these people from these 4 points, and Wes made a good point. And Wes made a very good point about up on Highway 32, the people from down there, there's going to be an extra mileage. It's probably the same thing for the people that use the Buck Jones and the Yatesville site. It's going to be probably won't affect them that much. But I would love to leave, just like the manager said, I would love to leave the option open if we had to keep them open, one of these sites open, and I'm not doing it for political reasons, because I know that Hood wipes the clock in some of these locations, so I'm not doing it for political reasons. I'm doing it for constituent services. And I'm just not ready to say close one yet. I'm just not ready.
Well, I think within my motion, that's still open. We're going to have to go back and do specific approvals, so we can allow them to proceed and see how the votes turn out when they need the votes. Well,
And you also, when the mega sites are operational, so the sites aren't going to close tomorrow. I mean, there would be quite a bit of time. But again, it allows us to plan. Otherwise, as we enter into negotiations, as we're looking at and budgeting for the maintenance and for the staffing of future sites, I'm just a little limited as far as what I can do. I may end up having, I don't want to have to do 4 or 5 different scenarios and say, well, we keep 9 open, or we keep 8 open, or we keep 7 open. But I can. I mean, that's, again, these are all things that were discussed previously and that were written, that was a consensus of what we were given, so that's what we're doing. But again, if not, then we will continue as we've been doing, so.
To me, the most important thing that people are asking is, where are the mega sites? And now we have that. And then where are the ones that are going to be recommended to stay open? I mean, I'm agreeable to the motion because I think we need to move on. But I think it's very important for us to do a press release and have a map that shows where the mega site is and shows these recommended. You can call them recommended, because right now that's what it is. It's recommended, Ed.
That's right.
It's recommended.
It's recommended, that's all.
And that will allow the public to have some input.
I can count.
I mean, to go to Pantigga, I'm 12 miles away. I'm 12 miles away. And the point you made is that I don't take a sofa there, but, well, Kathy won't let me take one there, period. But, you know, I'm constantly going by there all the time with bags of kitchen trash, but not the other things. And the limbs I'm going to have to go to the mega site to anyway. I still say that, you know, once you open these up, we don't know what the culture is going to be and the habits of these people. Because once you start going to the mega site to take anything, you may just choose that, you know, save your trash and go by there once a week if you've got a trailer or, you know, a pickup truck. So.
Yes, sir. And again, the recommendations and the site's closures were based on the radius circles, and it was based on so that people aren't driving past one collection site to go to another collection site, so that there's not so much redundancy there. And again, pavement, the mega sites are being designed with hard surfaces coming in. So if you're just going to go drop off your bags of trash, your vehicle doesn't need to get dirty or dusty. You're not driving across gravel, things like that. And I think those are an increased level of service that some people will appreciate, and they will want to do that.
Any other comments on the motion? All right. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to inject this if I can. When we open these mega sites, I mean when they're finished and we're ready to open, I want us to pull up a couple of vendors with hot dogs and have a field day at the site so the public can come and see, and they'll have a reason to come and see.
Well, I think that's a great idea.
There are lots of food trucks.
That would be known as a mega site rally.
Wait, whoa. Can Brian and Christina, now that we've got the sites, can we go to the planning department and get an address so that the address on Boyd Road and the other one can be put in a press release?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We have that information.
Okay.
That we can do that.
I mean, I would like to see staff try to release something and start you know, and start putting that information out there.
Brandon, you hear?
Brandon?
We get a drone shot.
Okay.
I have all the confidence Brandon will do a fantastic job of getting the word out.
All right, we're down to Wes. You're going to talk about the unauthorized use of collection sites.
You can, yeah. Wes had a family commitment this evening, so he wasn't sure if he'd make it back.
Unfortunately, no, I've got it. Unfortunately, my family commitment, it resulted in a loss and not a win. But we get to play again, so that's all right.
You must be talking about baseball.
Yes, sir, All-Star Tournament. So thank you, Christina, for allowing me to cut out and rush back for that. As requested by Commissioner Richardson during the June meeting, we've compiled some information about unauthorized dumping at collection sites. Specifically speaking mostly about people that are from out of county coming in and using our collection sites. This was specifically in response to I believe some questions about the Aurora site, people coming in from Jones County where they are required to pay for this. Pamlico County, excuse me, I'm skipping a river. Yes, thank you. I hate that because I like maps. It's coming from Pamlico County where they're required to pay for disposal and coming in with large amounts of waste and frequently visiting our sites, whether they're on the way to work at Nutrien or some other place, we don't know. So, you know, we've talked with Republic Services, who operates our sites, many times over the years about these situations and being aware of those. And they're not aware of any specific people that are, you know, frequent offenders of that, coming in with large loads of waste, coming in multiple times with it. They're just not, we're not getting that information from them, that is actually that big of a concern down there. So without specific dates or times of disposal, we really don't have a way to go and look and see if we can verify those claims. Don't get me wrong. We fully suspect that this is happening ourselves. You know, we have multiple sites that are close to the county line, so it's probably more than just Pamlico County. But we really don't have any firm information to go and say, well, let's really dig into that and see what's happening, when it's happening, how much it's happening. So anyway, what we've done is we've just gone into our data that we have and have done some analysis on that, and specifically looking at Aurora for this purpose. Aurora collection site has averaged 852 tons per year of MSW, which is your household garbage, your furniture, all that's combined into MSW. Has averaged 852 tons per year over the last 5 years. And that represents approximately 8% of the county's total tonnage that is collected of MSW at our collection sites. Just making an assumption, we thought, you know, is 10% of this out of county waste. So that's the number we used, 10% of that. The cost due to out of county waste equals approximately $7,950 per year at the Aurora site. So while it may be something that's happening, ultimately I think it is a small problem when you look at just Aurora. Now, we do have multiple sites, so that number does get multiplied by other sites, but still, compared to what we pay for waste disposal a year, we're not talking about a big chunk of change there. So, like I said, we generally do acknowledge that disposal of out-of-county waste occurs not only at Aurora, but at all of our sites located near county lines. You know, Landfill Gate, River Road, Ransomville, they may not see too much because they're not just a hop, skip, and a jump over the county line. But currently, you know, we do not require any kind of proof of residency that they've paid their annual solid waste fee on their taxes to use the sites, and all sites follow those rules. So therefore, anything that we have done, anything in the past that we've done trying to address an issue at one site has been something that's incorporated at every site. So backing up into some history, this is since I've been here almost 5 years. We've looked at different methods of ways that we could try to minimize these out-of-county or unauthorized individuals from dumping at our collection sites. In early 2021, I presented an implementation of a disposal card program, which was very similar to something that was talked about is an operation in Haywood County in the mountains. And it was a favorable method that was discussed at that time. At the time, the board did choose not to implement that program based on the changes that were anticipated with our collection site, which we've talked more about tonight. Lots of changes coming up. In your agenda item, you see the disposal card program is summarized again with updated cost information. So again, this card program, once a resident paid their solid waste fee, once we received that verification from the tax collector's office, which the proposal includes them helping manage this program, the disposal cards would be generated and mailed out to the people who paid it. So, at the beginning of the year, you get a big chunk of them that get sent out, but you have other periods throughout the year that you would have to issue disposal cards. So there's been some discussion about could we contract out sending out these cards. I think that works great if you're doing it one time a year, but we have the issues of, well, people sell their houses or, people pay their taxes at different times. So we view handling it in-house preferable to contracting that service out. Some of the pros of that system, like was presented before, is the ability to limit disposal at the collection site to those who do possess a disposal card. Now, that does come with some disadvantage too. Oh, I rolled up and I forgot my disposal card. So, so I'll come back to that in a minute with some of the disadvantages to that system. We do expect that it would reduce out-of-county waste, which again, we don't think is that big of an issue, but it would help reduce what there is of it. We do expect it will reduce in a limited number of tonnage and hauls that's received at the sites. We think that it will probably help improve the collection of the solid waste fees, because if you don't get your disposal card until you pay your fee, then you can't use our sites. So I need to pay my fee so I can take my trash off. The transfer station is available for disposal of anything where somebody doesn't have a card. It's just the matter of getting to the transfer station for a lot of people. And then also we do expect that there would be a limited amount of revenue from issuing duplicate cards. Whether it's, a card gets damaged or somebody requests a duplicate card, we could see that happening in this program as well. So moving on to the disadvantages, one of the major things is this is dependent upon a contractor's employees on site to manage this program. They already have a lot of responsibility in managing what happens in those sites. Another problem with that is they have no way to verify if somebody says, I have my card, but I left it at home. They don't have any way to verify that on site. So it has to be, I'm sorry, sir, ma'am, you don't have your card, you can't dump your waste today. You're gonna have to go home and get it and come back. We think that traffic flow at sites would slow, and that at times is already an issue. So if every person has to have their disposal card checked, that is gonna slow the throughput time of going and dumping your waste. Again, it takes site attendants away from doing other duties that they're expected to do, helping to clean up on the site. They're spending more of their time, which is good that they're spending more of their time interacting with the people, but it takes them away from other things that need to be done that day. Another disadvantage is uncertainty of what happens to the waste after we refuse somebody from dumping. I think we all know that we have that problem already, and this would probably add to that to some extent. We think there's an issue, there's a point of confusion when it comes to landlords and renters, because the landlord pays the fee, they've got to get the cards to the renter, and the renters are dependent upon the landlord. So that's there's a major hurdle that has to be crossed there, of making sure that the cards get to the people that need to use them. Again, I mentioned site attendants don't have access to know who had recently paid a fee. I'm looking at it that way. They just went and paid it. They haven't gotten their card yet. They're still waiting to throw their trash away. We do think additional staffing would be required. And again, this is contractor employees, so we anticipate there would be an additional cost from the contractor from hiring additional employees, specifically at Cherry Run, Chocowinity, and River Road because of the traffic that currently goes through those sites. We look at the logistics of processing 23,000 plus disposal cards on an annual basis, plus issuing replacement cards throughout the year. Again, that's where we're talking about you need somebody that can do this day in and day out because things change constantly. And then, just like we mentioned before, just the concern of implementing a new program right before major changes are taking place. You see attached to the agenda item the updated costs, the total implementation costs that we have figured up for this program, which does include the card printer, the initial round of supplies, a employee in the tax collector's office who he said he would need to process this, which that employee would be cross-trained on, and all of his employees would be cross-trained so they could all do this duty. All of that included, and the additional cost of the Republic Services site attendants would be an implementation cost of $133,235. We anticipate an annual recurring expense of $126,278, which is basically everything I just mentioned other than the printer. You have to buy the supplies every year. You have to pay the employee every year. You have to pay the Republic Services employee every year. And that recurring annual expense represents 7% of the expected tonnage and trucking costs of 2025. So that's a big number relative to what we spend annually on our waste. So all of that considered, our recommendation to you would be that we not implement this program at this time due to the cost and the upcoming changes that previously delayed the implementation of this program.
Weigh into this just a minute. First of all, I agree the cost benefit is not there. But never ask an engineer for a question unless you want a good analytical answer. So that's what we got out of this, which is what we need to make a business decision. But there is another alternative that might help solve this problem. What if we there's only 2 sites that are a problem. What if we put signs up at these sites that said illegal dumping, if you're not a resident of this county, you will be fined, you can be fined and charged under our trash ordinance, because our trash ordinance defines what illegal dumping is, and it defines it as putting trash in a place that doesn't belong. So if you're bringing trash from out of the county and putting it in our dump sites, you're putting it in a place that doesn't belong. Now, the thing that you mentioned quite rightly is when people call me, and I've had several complaints about Aurora over the last 3 or 4 years, but if you put this sign up, then we can make this complaint enforceable, in which case you tell the person who's complaining, if you see this happening again, you get their tag number and as much identification as you can, and we will prosecute them under our trash ordinance. And I think that the threat of that will solve our problem. And you only have to do it at 2 sites.
I obviously don't have it in front of me, but I feel pretty confident that our signs say Beaufort County residential waste only.
It does.
So I think we're covered.
Yeah.
Obviously, it may not stand out like do not dump out of county waste, but I think we're covered on that. And
well, I think you're covered on it, but I think a glaring sign that says, hey, look, Jack, you're coming from out of the county, we're enforcing this now. We have a new ordinance. I think you're right, we're covered. I just want something at those 2 locations that will make it a standout. So when the person is charged, they can't run around and say, well, we didn't know, blah, blah, blah.
Brian?
Yes, sir. So I think that, and I won't speak for the county attorney, we were just having a conversation right then, just started to have a conversation. But I think if that's the route you want to go, I think the ordinance needs to be amended to specifically say it is a violation punishable by this if you dump trash and you do not live in Beaufort County. I don't think you want to try to weasel, slide this one in under something. I think you want to be extremely clear. And like I say, I'm not speaking for the county attorney, but that would be my.
I don't have a problem with doubling down on it. It's not a problem. But I think that might solve the problem with these two locations.
Amanda, do you have a comment?
Yes, to be enforceable, it needs to be specific.
Okay. Randy?
I was thinking more along the lines of a sticker for the car. Is that out of the question? I mean, because then the attendant, all has to do is look up and see the sticker and
We considered
move on.
the sticker, and we just thought the tradings of vehicles and how many do you issue to each person, and I forgot and I drove my vehicle that doesn't have a decal on it. That way we thought, well, if you have a disposal card, you can have it on your person no matter what you drive.
And the other thing, if we have to find out illegal dumping is taking place, I know, this city police has license plate readers. Is that out of the question that we can put one of those in there and just read the license plates as they come by?
Get into that. You don't want to get into that.
Both of those options were discussed previously, and it was decided not to go in that direction. As far as the license plate readers, and the sheriff's office is not here, but previously they commented on that and talking about the legalities of that, and then us having to link up.
I'm just thinking it's a small problem.
But, and having to link up with the DMV website and all that kind of stuff. And that's actually what I was coming back to say, because putting the signs up is one thing, but I think the biggest change that could be made is these people that are saying all of this stuff is happening. We don't just need a license plate, because again, we're not law enforcement, and our solid waste officer's not law enforcement. So to run a license plate, you need to get law enforcement involved. Law enforcement has certain rules and regulations that they have to go by in order for them to run a plate to see who it is. And the biggest thing we need is date, time. Because if we can get them on cameras, on security footage, then we have something where we know it's them. Because a license plate, I don't know if it's Bob, or I don't know if it's his brother Billy, or if it's his sister Samantha that was driving the truck. I don't know.
Yeah, we understand this is a complicated thing, but, it's like a police officer. It's not that the policeman catches so many crooks in that while they're committing a crime. It's the fact that he's present, and that's what we're talking about in this case. So I move that we erect a sign at Cherry Run and Aurora that indicates that we're enforcing dumping by ordinance if you're out of county, or you're not supposed to be doing that, or whatever the attorney decides the language needs to be, and that we let this be citizen enforced by educating the public when they call and complain of the information that we need in order to do an enforcement action. Because that person that's doing it, they're going to be back. The only question is whether there's anybody there to see it or not. And that's my motion. Did I make a complete motion?
Well, a motion of design of great specificity towards the ordinance.
He did say, he told her, he gave the attorney.
Brian.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Decide what the language on the sign is.
so all due respect to Commissioner Richardson's motion, if you could give us a month to work with the county attorney to get the legal language in place before we put a sign up.
Yeah, if you want to bring it back, and
Yeah,
we
if we
got to
can do
revise the ordinance, so
Yes.
that's going to take, unless it's a unanimous vote on the first round, two times, so.
Pay a reward for snitches.
You don't need to pay a reward. The people that called me are upset about it enough that they, believe me, you'll see some action.
Will you withdraw the motion and just let them come back next month with
Yeah.
okay.
That's a recommendation.
All right. You okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right. All right.
Snitches get stitches.
I will say one thing, as you're, talking to people saying that we need dates and times, I would also request a description of the vehicle.
Oh, yeah, all the information you need.
There's a lot of video to look through, so description helps tremendously.
And we do not have, because of the size of the sites, all of the sites are laid out differently, and trying to maintain a lower cost of the operational. We do not have our camera footage at times may be limited. So we see a lot, but we do not see everything.
Okay.
The attorney, if she comes back next month, she can bring us the language that we need in the ordinance so that law enforcement can be involved.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for regurgitating all that again.
Yes. All right. We're down to emergency services. DC?
Chairman, Commissioners, good evening.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank y'all for y'all's dedication and support for the May meeting, for the RFPs, for our pre-disaster, pre-position contracts. I'll let you know that it was very successful. Commissioner Booth saw himself how much there was, and it went great. One more thing I'd like to share with y'all is, since the last time we've spoken, it's come down from the state that the local counties should start doing what we're doing right here. I'm not saying we're a trendsetter, but the state says from all of the counties that you need to be pre-positioned because we don't know what the feds and the state, what's it going to look like for us. So we've made good strides. But right now, what I have for you tonight is for infrastructure and construction assessment for our pre-disaster contract. So during the May 5th meeting, the commissioners approved for the Office of Emergency Services to proceed with the initiative to secure a pre-disaster contract that would assist with the provisions of infrastructure, construction analysis, and assessments. So what we did with our staff, we published the appropriate RFP. We followed all the guidelines, the CRFs, everything that needed to be legal, e-procurement. And we've got one back was Orlo Forensics out of Flower Mound, Texas. And in your packet, you can see how it was evaluated. We had 3 evaluators. So what we're asking for, like any past emergency contract, the county will only be financially responsible for payments if and when emergency services and support is requested. In your packet, there's a copy of a 3-year contract, which includes a renewal clause for 2 additional 1-year terms for service, so a 5-year total. And it's been reviewed by the county attorney and attached for your review. So the Office of Emergency Services respectfully requests your approval for Orlo Forensics pre-disaster contract for infrastructure and construction assessment.
Any questions or of DC?
Well, I want to weigh in on this too. I look at this thing, an engineer, $394 an hour under this thing. What infrastructure does the county have that we would want designed very quickly after an emergency? Can anybody tell me? And the answer is there's none. There's none. The state takes care of the roads. It's not like we were in Virginia or some other states where we had to worry about roads and bridges. We don't. The professional engineers of North Carolina, of which I is or was a member, I don't remember when I paid my dues, but they provide engineers in emergency situations like this. They've been doing this for the last 10 or 12 years after hurricanes, and most of the time they're free of charge. So I've looked at this contract and this whole concept, and I think you're wading into something that some county employee is going to call these people in, and you're all of a sudden going to be paying a lot of money for something you didn't need to begin with. I think the whole concept is a bad idea, and I intend to vote against it.
So I'd like to address a couple of things there. First, these contracts are not something that we as an individual county employee can trigger. These kind of contracts would be triggered under states of emergency at the direction of the chairman and the manager and the board if you all elect to take that action as a voting board. And to go to the services that are provided, that speaks exactly to what we have been warned against by the state and the feds and are sharing the information with you. The resources that we have gotten in the past for our disasters, we cannot rely on that moving forward. And that's the purpose of these contracts. We've talked several times over the last a year and some change that the landscape of emergency management and response is changing rapidly. And if we base our plan on our past experiences, we will fall short. If we're relying, as has been mentioned in the board as well, if we're relying on government to come rescue and big government to provide us the resources, we will fall short in this current landscape of changes. It's at the point now that our state EM offices are scheduling monthly meetings with emergency managers to talk specifically about where we are with changes on the state and federal response should we have a disaster this summer. To speak to what this person may or may not assess for us, we do have a number of structures and infrastructure in the county that if we have a widespread disaster that we may need those services on. Our water infrastructure, all of our county buildings that may be damaged. This may not be an individual who comes in and says, this is what we want our replacement building to look like. This is the individual that comes in and says, this building has significant damage. It's going to cost this amount of money to rebuild it. It's safe to inhabit or not, and help us run through those contingencies in a timely manner where we're not relying on county employees who are going to be tied up with other emergent operations to do that services.
But that is precisely what the professional engineers of North Carolina provide free, and they're in Raleigh. They're not somewhere in Texas. This is, I'm telling you, this is a bad idea. We've got an emergency services group. We got the sheriff's group. We got volunteer firemen. We have a myriad of people who can show up in an emergency, in a disaster, and help us. We don't need to be hiring some engineer for $394 an hour to come up here and tell us something that the building inspector already has the authority to tell you. This is the gross overlap in government and bureaucracy, and I'm not going to support this.
A draftsman at $194 an hour?
Yeah.
I mean, this is craziness. I mean, is this the going rate? I don't think so. I wouldn't hire anybody anywhere near this.
That's the rate that he will pack his bag in Texas and get up here if he can, fly up here and walk in and start telling us stuff.
Okay.
This is
untenable.
The normal rate's probably $150 an hour. It's not that different.
150 between a 394 and 150 for a draftsman?
Yeah, probably so, under most of these conditions. I mean, some of these people are doing some pretty heavy billing. But
yeah.
The point is, we already have these skills. We already have these skills here. We already have these talents here. We do not need to go out and start hiring somebody from Texas to come up here and help us, because we've got plenty of people in North Carolina. These disasters are not statewide. The whole state is not going to be overblown with an entire disaster unless we have a nuclear war, in which case all bets are off. Along the coast for hurricanes, you have flash floods in the mountains, you have flash floods in the Piedmonts. They may cover as many as 10 counties. So it's not a matter of us being isolated from the whole world, in which case, if it's the kind of disaster these guys are talking about, the guy can't get here anyway.
Chris, and Brian, I suppose, from your perspective, if you need a professional engineer and you can get it from the state or emergency management, that's the route you're going to go.
That's correct.
This is when you really got to make a decision and you don't have anybody and time is of the essence.
Exactly. These are not our plan A. These are our plan C, D, and F when everything else fails. Now, I understand that the rates seem exorbitant. I agree. We have seen invoices from Helene that are much worse than this. Mm-hmm. Our job as a department head is to bring recommendations to you as a board with the best information that we can. We are being told by multiple people across the federal and the state level that we cannot base our response plan on past experience and resources from those agencies. That puts us in the position of emergency services to make this county as prepared as possible. And we're going through a depth of contingency plans to do that. The decision to approve these are yours as the board. We're giving recommendations because we see some troubling waters on the horizon about the available resources that will be made available to us as a county if we have a disaster. And that's what we're bringing forward.
Well, look, we've got probably 50 licensed professional engineers in Beaufort County. There's probably another 300 in Pitt County. Over the whole state, there's probably as many as 5,000. I mean, and like I say, most of these guys, most of these are volunteers during these emergencies.
But
I've been to one of the training
this contract, it does not keep us from being able to do that.
It does not.
That may be true, but you don't need the contract to begin with because you're overkilling the thing 10,000% to begin with. We're setting up another bureaucracy and another place to spend money.
So one thing about these pre-position contracts, which we've seen from many lessons learned, our negotiated rates are negotiated. So for example, there was something that happened in Buncombe County, and they had a shower trailer, and they also had a laundry trailer. Well, for 1 week, they were $147,000. I spoke with the state about this. They want pre-positioned. They want ready. Matter of fact, when they were on the way to North Carolina, Florida had a pre-position contract with this company. They turned them around, and they went to Florida. So our pre-position contract for that same unit is $30,690 for 1 month. Buncombe County paid that in 1 week.
We're going to need a shower. Look, we've only got 46,000 people in this county. Most of these people live on fairly self-sufficient properties.
So did people in Asheville. They lost the whole water system. Asheville's a bigger place. There's more people in Asheville than there is here in Washington.
Asheville has a lot more risk from flash flood than we do. It can rain 3 feet here on east of Washington, and you probably in 24 hours, and you probably wouldn't have a really big deal. 3 feet on the other side of Greenville becomes a big deal because of the topography. You've got to be able to assess your risk, and you guys are trying to apply us and some of these risks to other places that are extremely high risk. Again, we have the talent, we have the skills, we have the stuff available to us right here without having to go to Texas and get it, and it can all easily be negotiated. And like, as I say, the Society of Professional Engineers has trained people. I've been to one of their training sessions for this stuff. Okay. So you guys can enter all the high-cost contracts you want to based on you're all going to die if you want to, but I'm telling you, logic and common sense tells you this is not a good thing.
Motion to approve. Okay, we got a motion to approve. Is there a second? I'll second the motion.
I'd like to speak.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. When you do these kinds of contracts, there's a predisposition. If you can't get in touch with this person or that person, you just go with it. And let's say communications are hard to affect and they are unmanageable, and somebody pulls that trigger and the guy in Texas is on his way up here. And I think you're in a position where you're going to have to accept these incredibly high rates just because you couldn't get somebody, because some bureaucrat says, bam, I'm pulling the trigger. I have the right to do so. Here we go. I think you're... And there's one other thing. I don't know if Hood mentioned this. I don't know if any of you guys want to mention it. But when you pre-position this amount of money, it creates a market, an unfair, an unrealistic market. And that's the market that Buncombe County fell into. Buncombe County is not very well run. I mean, let's face it. It's still a county where illegals can stay and be, and there's no problem with, sorry, didn't mean to offend you down there. But it's one of those counties, one of the 12 counties in the state that allow such. So I wouldn't gauge what we do in Beaufort County against Buncombe County. I mean, be honest with you, I went to a meeting up there one time. I'm walking down the street, and there's a woman walking by with her top off. I mean, breast showing, and why? Because it's okay to do that. He was slobbering.
So the standard...
No, I was offended, be honest with you.
What does that have to do with the
agenda? Because I think we're
item?
talking about Buncombe County. It's a poorly run county.
Okay, you've expressed your opinion.
Well, I have.
Tandy, do you have anything to say? Huh?
No, sir.
Randy?
Nope. I'm done.
You done?
Call the question.
All right. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed?
There we go.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I also want to let y'all know...
Hold on a minute. Why are you so sorry they have to go through all that?
I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you.
What's that got to do with it?
You to apologize for anything.
No. Don't apologize for my constituents.
Keep it to yourself.
I just want to let y'all know that we got the last of our contracts in today, and they've been sent over for review. Sorry we didn't have them ready for this meeting, but we'll have the other ones ready for August.
All right, go to your next item.
So, yes, sir. So this was something we brought up last month that we pulled from HQE. It was the part that had some lingo that was a little different. Said if we had to do anything, we'd have to go to, like, California to go do any legal. And so HQE sent it to the county attorney, and they got all that corrected. So just to recap what it is, there's a request for us, for the county to transition the mass notification system from HyperReach to HQE system. HQE is a fully IPAWS certified platform that mirrors all the same functions that we currently use. It includes the automated weather alerts and National Weather Service, emergency notification, and critical messaging capabilities used by Public Works. The contract proposed was a 2-year agreement with locked-in pricing at $2,700 a year, followed by 3 additional years with a 5% annual increase. Again, this item was pulled in June meeting due to contract changes. But in addition to this, North Carolina Emergency Management has approved a request for Beaufort County's Office of Emergency Services to utilize up to $2,900 of the NCDPS Tier 2 grant funding towards the subscription costs of our county's mass notification system, HQE. This grant would require no matching contributions from the county. So the Office of Emergency Service respectfully requests your approval of the attached contract with HQE Systems and budget ordinance accepting NCDPS Tier 2 grant funding totaling $2,900.
Second. Got a motion second. Any questions?
Commissioner No would like to speak again. You know, look, when you get into emergency situations, everybody watches the TV, listens to the radio. I mean, this again is another one of those useless things unless you tell me that you're going to use it for shooting incidents in schools and things like that.
So it's also used for Public Works when people are back on their paying their water bill. It gives them messages to let them know we try to get you by phone. It gives them emails. It sends them text messages, lets them know that if you don't pay your bill, we're going to cut your water off. So
Well,
Public
okay.
Works uses it too.
All right, you just want.
Thank you.
So you're a yes?
Good reason. Sense.
Okay.
You guys vote for it whether it makes sense or not.
All those in favor, raise your right hand.
Thanks, guys.
He did. He did. He did. Okay, Anita, you're up. The
Yes,
first
sir.
one is the intercom system for the schools from the lottery funds.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Both my items tonight are related to the schools drawing down lottery funds. The first one starts on page 414, and the schools sent me an email requesting that I put an agenda item on for them this evening to request drawing down $117,086.46 of their funds from lottery funds to pay for 3 intercom sound systems. One of those will go in the Northside High School auditorium. The cost of that is $64,366. One will go at the Northside High School. It's an external intercom system, so I'm not sure if that is for a ball field or just at the outside or exterior of the school itself. That one is $31,683, and then the last one will be at Washington High School Gym at a cost of $21,037. Currently, the restricted funding for the building capital funds for Beaufort County Schools is $1.859 million. If we draw down this $117,000, there'll be a remaining balance of $1,742,393.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the request.
So moved.
Okay. We got a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, we have a second. Okay, Tandy.
This also includes $47,000 for an intercom system at Chalkwinnie Middle School.
Didn't see that. What page is that on?
Well, it's in there.
Okay, sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah.
When I was making my list.
And I'm happy to see that their county schools are getting some money other than just the city schools. Thank you.
I see that now. That is on page 428, and that is a cost of, yes, $47,356. It looks like they are replacing an intercom. They don't say exactly where on the school grounds, but yes, Chalkwinnie Middle School is in that project. Thank you for that.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this money that could be used, that we're drawing down, if there was an overage in the cost of building the new Eastern Elementary School?
No. It can be used for other repair and maintenance projects at the school campuses, but not for the building project of the new school.
Okay, but here we are building a $52 million school, and we have lottery funds that are out there that could be used in case there were an overage. And we have been presented with the estimated cost for this school, very flimsy numbers that are incomplete, and we don't know whether they're going to be overruns or not, and we're drawing down the funds that potentially could be used in some way to cover overages in that $52 million school. This is not a good business decision. We shouldn't be doing this. You need to hold back until you see what the overruns are going to be on that new school, because the people that are in charge of building that school have never built a school before. What could possibly go wrong?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
these funds cannot be used for overruns on new projects like that. They can only be used for maintenance issues. That's what Anita said. So,
Okay. All right. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed. Okay, you want to go to the reimbursement number 5 and number 6 for Washington Elementary School?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's on page 433. We're getting to a point where we're going to be doing this on a monthly basis. WIMCO has presented us with 2 invoices. I noticed the other day when I rode by, I see steel up in the air now, so they're making progress. They need to get paid. This is reimbursement number 5 and 6. Reimbursement number 5 is in the amount of $916,037.50. The state share of that, for the grant share, will be right at $740,000. The county share will be just over $176,000. The reimbursement number 6 begins on page 451. That reimbursement is $1,555,102.50, with the grant amount being $1.25 million and the county share being $299,000. And you've got all the detail there. You've got the reimbursement request. You've got the individual invoices. You've got where the architect, Mr. Height, has signed off on everything. I'm happy to try to answer any questions that you might have about any specifics.
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Okay, so Height is attested that these invoices are valid, the work has been done, it's complete, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, he does that every time before we put it.
What
in the
about
budget.
lien waivers on this?
Lien waivers?
Is there a lien waiver? Okay.
Okay, we got a motion. Anyone second? I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the reimbursement number 5 and number 6 for the new Washington Elementary School, raise your right hand. Those opposed? All right. We're down to the Beaufort Community College Board of Trustees. Get it right. Reappointment, Katie?
Yes, sir. During the March 2025 meeting, the board appointed Dr. Deborah Winley to an unexpired term that expired on June 30th. The Board of Trustees desires that Dr. Winley be reappointed. However, the Board of Commissioners can also elect to appoint someone else to the 4-year term.
Motion to reappoint.
Got a motion and a second to reappoint Dr. Winley to the 4-year term at the college. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those, okay, unanimous. We're down to commissioners' comments or questions. Chakawinity Industrial Park is zoning.
Well, the reason I keep bringing this up and talking about this is this board sat here tonight and voted for all kinds of socialistic programs to give people money. And the health department came in and said that one of the biggest problems in Beaufort County was the lack of jobs. And the board refuses to make the industrial park on South developable by having it rezoned to heavy industrial. which it is because it has a railroad, a high-tension power line, a gas line running through it, and all of the things that are needed for heavy industrial. But at the same time, they sit here and their heart just bleeds to give money to people who won't keep up their houses, claiming that they don't have jobs and all this sort of thing. The board's on both sides of this issue. On one side of it, they're voting for socialism. Let's let the government and the taxpayers keep paying for people to not keep up their properties and live below the poverty line. And on the other side of the equation, they refuse to do what's necessary to make high-paying jobs available in Beaufort County. It's hypocrisy on a grand scale, and the board needs to stop and think about this, and we need to get this park zoned to heavy industrial so we can get some jobs in Beaufort County, because whether you've noticed it or not, President Trump is bringing industry back into the United States, and now is the time to strike while the iron is hot. So I'd be interested to hear any other comments that anybody has about this.
Are you making a motion?
Well, we've had motions, but I make a motion that we take whatever action is necessary to have the Chocowinity Industrial Park rezoned to heavy industrial.
I'll second that, and I'd like to speak.
Okay.
Chocowinity Industrial Park is sitting out there, light industrial. Nothing's happened all these years, nothing. I mean, on its face, you would think something is wrong. But this board continues to go along with the city of Chocowinity, or town of Chocowinity, who in a satellite zoned this years ago with the help of the commissioners. I believe it was in 2006. And you voted against it, I voted against it. We voted that there be no zoning. If there was no zoning here, and we own this piece of property, we probably have people out there now with high-paying jobs. We got railway, we got gas, we got Highway 17, and now we got light industrial, which means you can do all kinds of things like build a frame shop or operate a car shop or whatever, things like that. Sell CDs. You need to have something where you can do munitions, you can do heavy industrial, you can bring in the big boys. And this is going to be happening all over the United States. What President Trump is doing is working. It's working. He's been the most effective president we've had in decades. And we need to get on board with the plan. I mean, you guys are living back in the old days where you just all work together and hold hands and maybe something will happen right. And it's not going to happen like that. I can tell you right now. Towns do not need to tell counties what they can do with their property. And that's what's happening. Now, if you guys won't go along with it, then somebody's going to sue the county for a job because we lost a bunch of jobs.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else have a comment?
No.
You made a second, all right. All those in favor of having it rezoned, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we take this off for the next 6 months, off of the agenda. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Those opposed?
Yeah, I'll let you say this. Good political decision, Frankie.
Well, you know, you've got your opinion, and I've got mine, and mine's just as good as yours. You know?
If you want to get clued in on this, read the Chocowinity zoning ordinance. It's as much anti-development as it can possibly be. I know, I use it regularly.
All right, the next one, what do you mean by the approval grant inquiries?
I have the specific language here, which I'll pass out. Here's one for the clerk. And let me keep one of these. A motion to require the approval of the Board of County Commissioners before any employee or commissioner initiates action that could lead to a grant application. Now, we've had this policy before, and this has been discussed before, but it didn't work in the case of the closing of the John Cotton Taylor School and the combining of it with Eastern Elementary. And I want to refresh the board that we are a board. It's not up to individuals to go and start negotiating for grants.
and that's what happened on the building of the, sure.
You talking about you said that, what money are you talking about? Are you talking about the $42 million?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a problem with whoever went and asked somebody to bring $42 million here. I don't have a problem with it.
We approved the grant.
Yeah.
We approved the grant.
Guys are it's incredibly simple.
Yeah,
Well,
we approved the
you
grant.
call it simple if you get ready. I call it craziness. Somebody bring you $42 million and you fight them.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. The motion, the thing has been discussed about building another consolidated school on the south side of the river. Yes, you did. If you read the newspaper, you heard it.
Well, that's
So,
real.
don't start this ignorant stuff with me.
But it wasn't up here, Mr. Richards.
You can plead as ignorant as you want to. Well, okay.
I'm not gonna act like you. I'm not going to act as ignorant as you act.
Okay, thank you. So I'll ask the chairman, are you negotiating for another grant for a school on the south side of the river?
No.
You're not talking to anybody in Raleigh?
I threw that out there at the time because I was being interviewed, and I made it pretty clear that this was my vision and what I thought we should be heading in that direction.
Well, I just want to be sure.
But this board approved the grant before, and they'll approve the next.
No, I didn't approve it before, Frankie. We didn't approve it before. I was here. It didn't happen.
Well,
you yourself
you voted
sat there and
nay.
said
You're right. You
that
voted
you had
nay.
secretly negotiated for a year and a half. Frankie, it's on tape.
No, I didn't
Yes,
secretly
it's on
negotiate
tape.
anything.
Is there a motion or second?
Huh?
Is there a motion or second about this?
I'm assuming you made a motion.
I made a motion.
Well, I'll second the motion.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed.
Go get some more money and bring it both county, Mr. Chair.
Well, somebody's got to show some leadership.
Well, Frank, you did show leadership. You showed leadership when you were at one of the conferences, and I think you were up in Washington, D.C., and you went and met with some people, and you talked to some folks, and you figured it out. Was it not Washington, D.C.?
No. It was North Carolina Association.
Yeah, and y'all worked out a deal then, and
In the back room?
No, I mean,
got rolling.
all I did, I
remember
didn't
hearing
work out
about
a
that.
deal.
I think you
All
mentioned
did-
it at one of these meetings.
I went to the sessions, Stan.
know
You
that-
may not go to the sessions and listen to any of the stuff.
Frankie, you said you
I don't go to a lot
negotiated
of
for a year and a
Yeah.
half.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, you and Cheeseman showed up with your arms locked with
All right,
each other.
let's go to the Dodge City proposal
And
that
that's
you got.
DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. I'm gonna read something here, and you may not approve of it. I wrote it, and I'm gonna read it. It is. That's right. You don't write. You have a hard time reading too. I know you do.
Look at the camera and let's go.
I'm gonna take my time. You guys can stay here as long as you're this rude. I will take my time. Put your head down.
You got the floor.
Well, thank you. I'll take the floor. I'll have the floor.
This is going to turn into a filibuster.
No, it's not coming.
Okay. I will read it, and you guys vote against it. I know you will. The center-left coalition works together. Swap votes to share power.
Read it.
No, you're not going to tell me what to do. Now, this is rude. Your king chairman can shut up. Shut up.
Well, some of us had other things to do, Stan.
Yeah, I know you want to
Yeah,
get
really
away from here. I mean, you guys sit on like a bump on a log, like it was explained to me today when you guys let Snowden go away. I had a nice conversation with a
in the
woman
same
today.
place it's always been.
Yeah, it's going away. And maybe not if we get some better commissioners up here. DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, was conceived at the federal level as an antiseptic cleaning agent to help remove the rot of bad governing, the government of our self-governed people that was imagined by the wrong types that has now led this representative republic to be $37 trillion in debt and climbing. The borrowed phrase of DOGE, D-O-G-E, not Dodge, for the county of Beaufort is a proposed path to take a hard look at how we self-govern Beaufort County, thereby streamlining a plan to make this local government far more effective by making Beaufort County's governing process far more efficient. Did you understand that?
Yeah.
Can you listen with comprehension?
Without a period I've ever seen.
Well, it's called writing, Randy. You ought to try it. Simply create, now my idea for this is to simply create a DOGE committee for Beaufort County of 7 members from the community. with each commissioner picking one member who will serve at the behest of each representative currently sitting as a county commissioner with the aforementioned Doge Committee meeting once a month. Doge for Beaufort County Committee will pick a chairman and operate by the same rules of procedure as the county commissioners. The committee will meet in public in the Beaufort County Commissioners' chambers where meetings will be filmed. Furthermore, committee members will have access to all information requested by individual members and/or the committee as a whole, with the committee forming a report of better practices for future governing practices and to remove any discovered waste, fraud, and abuse. The committee report shall be completed on or before April 30th, 2026, and distributed to each county commissioner for their review, as well as the county manager's office. The committee can interact with the public, providing the interaction is relevant to Doge for Beaufort County Committee's business as a committee. Did you understand that?
I'll second.
Is it comprehensible to you?
I'm for less government.
You are? Okay, I got a vote there. Then we got a vote.
Who's second?
We got a motion?
You're adding to the government.
Okay, you made a motion?
No, Randy, you don't understand.
You made a motion.
This is what you do to, yes, I've made a motion.
You made a motion, okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any further discussion?
I have some discussion. I mean, every year, we do a budget. These guys are always talking about fraud, waste, and abuse, but they never come forth with any kind of evidence. There's no factual basis for anything they say, and now he wants to bring forth a committee to show of all this waste here in Beaufort County. You are an elected commissioner. How many budgets have you worked on?
A lot.
25 budgets.
No, you have not.
Yeah, I have. How many have you worked on?
25.
Okay, I have worked on 25.
You lost 1 year. You lost the whole term.
Yes. So
what are you talking about? I've been up here for 20. Look, I'm 7 terms up here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Why are you making this an issue? It's 25. The number is 25. Why does it matter?
Anybody else have any comments before we take a vote?
Let me just say this, because you had you had 25 times to expose any fraud and waste, and in 25 years, you have failed to do so.
Well, the idea here is to have a committee to look at it independently and see what they can find. You can pick somebody, they can go to sleep during the meeting. I'm going to pick somebody who's going to pay attention. Hood, are you going to do the same thing?
Yeah.
You going to do the same thing? Randy, you say you want to cut government?
Okay, we got...
Let me finish.
We've called...
You can be quiet.
He's called for
You're
a
not
question.
team chairman. You can be quiet.
He's called for a question. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed?
Okay.
All right. Wait a minute. You want to go to your resolution in support of President Donald Trump?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I can do that since you, in the center-left coalition, wished for me to do so. And summarily voted down
Well, why you bring it if you know what the vote is?
Doge for Beaufort County. What?
Why you bring it if you know what the vote is?
It's for his website.
Yeah.
It's for his website.
No, this is for your constituents, Brandy. I mean,
It's for his website.
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
And Frankie?
It's a conflict.
your
It's a
constituents.
conflict for his website. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Go ahead.
You know something? I'm not even going to do this. I'm not going to do it, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
You guys, you members of the center-left coalition who swap votes to share power here in Beaufort County, none of you are Republicans. You got 2 Democratic Socialists and 2 Democrats serving as rhinos up here, and you got 3 Republicans. Now, we have elections in Beaufort County, and the idea is to get the right people who are not frauds. You're talking about waste, fraud, and abuse. The idea that you 2 ran as Republicans because you couldn't get elected as Democrats is a fraudulent thing to do. Now, the idea is to show who you are, unveil who you are, remove all the trappings of Republican politics, which you are not. Please be quiet. I have the floor.
You don't have the floor.
Do you have the floor? No, you don't.
No,
You have to be called on.
He's into the commissioner's comments right this minute.
Yeah.
Well,
2 minutes.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now, what you do up here and what is represented by your votes each and every time shows a complete lack of will to do what it takes to govern effectively and efficiently. All you do is go along with what the bureaucrats tell you to do. None of you. Frankie cuts deals behind the closed doors. The rest of us are out to lunch. We don't know what's going on.
You've been out to lunch for a long time, buddy.
I tell you, buddy, my IQ is way over yours. So don't even think that you're close to my level of intelligence.
Your time is up. Okay, any other commissioners? All right,
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
It's pure hypocrisy for this board to sit here and vote for one welfare giveaway program after another and refuse to bring decent paying jobs to Beaufort County.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right.
We're out.
You know what?